Li Mei's Sword of Destiny. Chapter 1406. After refining the Great Creation Pill and Soul Condensing Pill, Qin Feiyang rested for a while and refined some small creation pills. As for the potential pill, he already had it, so there was no need to refine it. After doing all this, Qin Feiyang continued to copy the Xing formula. Elixir King Kai brought the pills into the ancient pagoda and handed them to Wang Yangfeng and the Thunder Leopard. When they received the pills from Dan Wangkai, whether it was the Thunder Leopard, the other two beasts, or Wang Yangfeng and the others, they were all extremely excited. However, Dan Wangkai was very nervous. He was worried that everyone would fail when opening the 7th and 8th level of the Door of Potential, because once they failed, it meant that they would have to waste another set of medicinal herbs. One had to know. Now, every time he used one of these pills, there would be one less. However, everyone was very hard-working. After half a day, with the help of Elder Qin, they successfully opened the 8th level of the Door of Potential, and Dan Wangkai still had one more set of pills in his hands. This was prepared for Wang Yishan. Wang Yishan accompanied the commander of the Kirin army to find the emperor, and had not returned yet. Time passed day by day. The imperial capital and the central divine kingdom were very lively now. Every day, people came and went from both sides. First, everyone was just curious. But whether it was the imperial capital or the central divine kingdom, there were some arrogant people or some people who wanted the world to be in chaos. How could they always get along peacefully? Therefore, as time passed, disputes slowly appeared. And the people in power of the Great Qin and the Forgotten Continent, because they were afraid of the snow python, did not interfere and allowed those people to cause trouble. In short, in their eyes, as long as no one died, it was fine. Because of this, some people became more and more presumptuous, running to the opposite side in groups to cause trouble. Among them, the ones who caused the most trouble were Wang Zicheng and his group. As the Qinghai 10 heroes, each of them had extraordinary talent, so they naturally felt that they were superior to others. In addition, their personalities were originally arrogant and unruly, so they caused a lot of trouble in the imperial capital these days. And the disciples of the War God Temple in the imperial capital were all arrogant people, so they naturally would not let them continue to be so arrogant. The dispute between the two sides became bigger and bigger. Finally, the flames of war erupted. The younger generation often fought in the sky above the Pill Pagoda's plaza in the First City District. Of course, these people were all disciples of the War God Temple, Sacred Tower and Sacred Peak, because no one else could interfere at all. In short, the monstrous geniuses on both sides didn't want to lose to the other side. As a result, both sides fell into an unprecedented state of chaos. Meanwhile, while the Chief Tower Master and the others were investigating the situation in Great Qin, the Imperial Tutor and the others were also investigating the situation in the Forgotten Continent. But they had a tacit understanding. Qin Feiyang was the one who made the most inquiries. The people on both sides didn't try to hide it. As such, in just a few days, whether it was Qin Feiyang's actions in Great Qin or in the Forgotten Continent, everyone knew about them. People on both sides were surprised. No one in the Forgotten Continent would have thought that Qin Feiyang had done so many shocking things in the Great Qin Empire. And no one in the Great Qin Empire would have thought that Qin Feiyang was so savage in the Forgotten Continent. Although Qin Feiyang hadn't appeared since the opening of the Gate of Time and Space, he had become the subject of heated discussion on both continents. At the same time, everyone finally understood Qin Feiyang's current situation. The Forgotten Continent couldn't tolerate him, and the Great Qin Empire couldn't tolerate him either. This was simply making the entire world his enemy. I really didn't expect this Qin Feiyang to be so annoying. Yeah, there's no place for him on both continents. It's really funny. He can only blame himself for being too arrogant. Hasn't he heard of the old saying that the tallest tree in the forest will be destroyed by the wind? No wonder he hid when the Gate of Time and Space opened. After offending so many people, does he dare to not hide? Believe it or not, if he didn't hide, he would have been cut into pieces by now. Everyone was discussing. In the eyes of the world, Qin Feiyang had already become the public enemy. There were people attacking him at every moment. On the 5th day of the opening of the Gate of Time and Space, Wang Yishan and the commander of the Kirin army finally returned. Qin Feiyang immediately welcomed them into the castle. Looking at the two of them, he smiled and asked, "How was it?" The commander of the Kirin army lowered his head, looking extremely downcast. Wang Yishan glanced at the commander of the Kirin army, shook his head and sighed. These days, he has been kneeling in front of the emperor and begging, but the emperor didn't even look at him. If I didn't forcefully pull him away, I'm afraid he would still be kneeling there. Hearing this, Qin Feiyong wasn't surprised at all. Looking at the commander of the Kirin army, he said calmly, "Now you should know what kind of person the emperor you respect is." The commander of the Kirin army suddenly raised his head and looked at Qin Feiyong, angrily saying, "The emperor must have his difficulties." "Difficulties? You think too highly of him. In my opinion, he is just a coward." Qin Feiyong snorted coldly. The commander of the Kirin army was unable to restrain his anger. He grabbed Qin Feiyong's clothes and shouted, "I won't allow you to slander the emperor like this." Qin Feiyong waved his hand and slapped away the commander of the Kirin army's big hand, saying, "This is the reality. You have to accept it even if you don't want to." After saying this, Qin Feiyong didn't care how bad the commander of the Kirin army looked. He turned to Dan Wangkai and said, "Give the elixirs to Mr. Wang." Dan Wangkai took out a jade box from his arms and handed it to Wang Yishan. "What is this?" Wang Yishan was suspicious. Dan Wangkai smiled and said, "The elixirs to unlock the door of potential are specially prepared by the young master for you." Wang Yishan raised his trembling hands and took the jade box. He opened the lid and saw several elixirs lying quietly inside. "Thank you, young master." After coming back to his senses, Wang Yishan quickly knelt down and thanked him. Qin Feiyong smiled and said, "During this period of time, you have risked your life for me. This is what you deserve. Go to the ancient tower and find Mr. Qin. He will help you unlock the door of potential. After that, you can begin to comprehend the profound meaning of becoming a god and strive to step into the false god realm as soon as possible." Yes. Wang Yishan was extremely excited. Qin Feiyong waved his hand and sent Wang Yishan to the ancient tower. Then he looked at the commander of the Kirin army, and finally sent the commander of the Kirin army to the ancient tower. Then, Qin Feiyong took out the image crystal. Buzz. Soon, Yin Wei's shadow appeared and bowed. "Greetings, young master." Qin Feiyong asked, "Has the Imperial Preceptor done anything these days?" Yin Wei said in a deep voice, "I was just about to find a time to report this matter to you." Qin Feiyong frowned. Looking at Yin Wei's expression, it seemed that there really was a situation. These days, the Imperial Preceptor has already understood what you have done in the Forgotten Continent. Just this morning, he asked me to go to the main tower to look for the Chief Tower Master. Yin Wei said, "Look for the Chief Tower Master?" Qin Feiyong was startled and said, "It can't be that he wants to join hands with the Chief Tower Master to deal with me, right?" Yin Wei said, "That's what he thinks." "Then what did the Chief Tower Master say?" Qin Feiyong asked. "Is there a need to say?" With the Chief Tower Master's vengeful personality, of course he nodded his head and agreed without hesitation. "In short, you have already become the public enemy of both continents. A lot of people are looking for you. There are even some reckless people who are shouting in the sky above the first district every day." Yin Wei sneered. "Let them shout as they wish, as long as they don't insult my mother." Qin Feiyong waved his hand indifferently. "That's not it. After all, everyone knows that the mistress is your reverse scale. Last time, everyone saw the death of Zhuge Jinghong. But there are a few people who have been very arrogant these days, and they don't even put Emperor Hong in their eyes. Do you know that they actually dared to say to Emperor Hong that a good dog doesn't block the way?" Yin Wei joked. "What? There are still such daring people. Who are they?" Qin Feiyong was surprised. "Old acquaintances Wang Ziqing and the others," Yin Wei said. Qin Feiyong was stunned, shook his head helplessly and said, "So it's them, then it's not strange at all. Right, there's one more thing." Yin Wei suddenly said. "What is it?" Qin Feiyong was suspicious. Yin Wei said, "The Imperial Tutor is working to persuade the various Martial Marquis, and there are already 5 Martial Marquis who have agreed to follow the Imperial Tutor's lead. 2 of them are even your acquaintances, Qianwu Marquis and Enwu Marquis. This old bastard, he's really fast." Qin Feiyong frowned, his gaze suddenly turned cold and said, "Other than Qianwu Marquis and Enwu Marquis, who are the other 3 Martial Marquis?" Yin Wei said, "Emowu Mark, Chiwu Mark, Wu Mark." These scum, I won't let any of them go. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with killing intent. In addition, there's one more thing. In the morning court in 5 days, the imperial tutor will officially let Zhuge Mingyang inherit the title of Zhuge Wu Marquis. Yin Wei said. Him. Worthy. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. Yin Wei said. Regardless of whether he is worthy or not, Emperor Hong has already agreed. Furthermore, Zhuge Mingyang is the only son of Zhuge Wu Marquis, so he will definitely be the one to inherit the title of Martial Marquis. Qin Feiyang lowered his head and muttered to himself for a while, then asked, the morning court in 5 days, right? Yes. Yin Wei nodded. I understand. Continue to pay attention to the imperial tutor's movements. If there's any news, inform me immediately. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he turned off the image crystal and sent a message to the Marquis of Shao. Soon, the image of the Marquis of Shao appeared. Qin Feiyang asked, I asked you to persuade the various martial marquis. How is it going? It's not going very well. Marquis Shao shook his head. What do you mean? Qin Feiyang frowned. In the past few days, I've asked all the martial marquis who have a good relationship with me, but none of them answered me directly. Sometimes I wonder if I should tell them the truth. For example, His Majesty is not dead. But I'm worried that they'll secretly inform the imperial tutor. After all, these martial marquis are all old foxes. No one knows what they're thinking. The Marquis of Shao said. It seems that this matter is more complicated than I thought. Right now, there are already 5 martial marquis who have chosen to follow the imperial tutor. If we don't hurry up, I'm afraid that we will end up with nothing. Qin Feiyang frowned. What? Which 5 martial marquis? The Marquis of Shao said in shock and anger. Qin Feiyang said, An Wu Ho, Qian Wu Ho, Gu Wu Ho, and Mo Wu Ho, Qi Wu Ho. How can they do this? Even if the imperial tutor is in power now as a martial marquis, you shouldn't go and seek refuge with him. The marquis's position should be neutral, standing on the side of justice. The Marquis of Shao flew into a rage. He was extremely disappointed with the 5 martial marquis. Neutral? Qin Feiyang sneered and said, Right now the fist is in charge. Whoever's fist is harder, everyone will fall for him. The Marquis of Shao calmed down, pondered for a moment and said, Then why don't we think of a way? We don't have to convince them to stand with us, but at least they don't dare to rely on the imperial tutor? I have the same plan. Let me think about it carefully. You stay put for now. Qin Feiyang instructed. All right. Also, I've been feeling that someone is secretly monitoring me recently. I think it should be the imperial tutor's men. The Marquis of Shao said. At the moment he doesn't dare to make a move on you, but you have to be careful. Don't let him catch you. Qin Feiyang warned. Yes. The Marquis of Shao nodded. After the conversation ended, Qin Feiyang put away the image crystal, lowered his head, and muttered to himself. Time passed breath by breath. Since persuasion won't work, then we can only use bloody methods to intimidate them. After a long while. Chapter 1407. According to the time in the ancient pagoda, the 4th stroke should take more than 150 days, but in the outside world it was only half a month. At that time, Qin Feiyang's cultivation could step into the 5-star combat emperor realm. He was one step closer to the war god realm. Thinking back to the time when he was in Iron Ox Town, not to mention combat emperor and war god, he didn't even dare to think about becoming a war saint. He also never thought that he could reach this step today. Time flew by. On the 8th day of the spatial door's opening, swish. On this day, Lu Xingchen, accompanied by Mu Zhongyun, entered the sky above the 1st district. Whoosh! The imperial tutor immediately flew into the sky and stood in front of the two. A good dog doesn't block the way, Lu Xingchen said indifferently. The imperial tutor's brows suddenly had a touch of hostility. He coldly looked at Lu Xingchen, looked at Mu Zhongyun and said, I didn't expect that the people of your Mu family are still alive. You already know? Mu Zhongyun was surprised. Last time I saw you and found that you looked a little familiar. Later, I looked through the ancient history and found that you look very similar to Mu Tianyang's son, Mu Zhongyun. This is very surprising to imperial preceptor. However, the ancient history recorded you when you were young. Now that you are old, I can't be sure. So, I sent people to the Central Divine Kingdom to investigate. In the end, I found that you are actually Mu Zhongyun. I also heard that your big brother Mu Zhongfeng is still alive in this world. I wonder how he is now. The imperial tutor sneered. Thank you for your concern. We are all good. But this old man is very curious. Who did you ask? Mu Zhongyun said. The imperial tutor said. Do you still need to ask? You should know in your heart. It really is the main pagoda. Mu Zhongyun's eyes flashed with killing intent. Because in the Forgotten Continent, only the people of the main pagoda knew the details of his Mu family. Of course, Qin Feiyang also knew. However, with the relationship between Qin Feiyang and the imperial tutor, he would definitely not tell the imperial tutor. I heard from the chief tower master that your Mu family has been doing quite well in the Forgotten Continent. But it seems that your luck is also very bad. You have repeatedly fallen into the hands of Qin Feiyang. The most recent one was even more disastrous. The state preceptor sneered secretly. Mu Zhongyun clenched his fists as a bone-piercing cold light flashed in his eyes. The state preceptor ignored him and looked at Lu Xingchen. And you, if I'm not wrong, should be Mu Tianyang. Yes, that's me. Lu Xingchen looked at him proudly. All these years you've been lurking in the temple, but we didn't know about it. I have to admit, you've really hidden yourself well. But there's one thing that I don't understand. Since you are Mu Tianyang, who was Ren Duxing killed by Qin Feiyang? The imperial advisor transmitted his voice. Because Lu Xingchen and Mu Zhongyun's identities were too shocking, he had been transmitting his voice secretly. Because once Lu Xingchen and Mu Zhongyun's identities were exposed to the world, it would definitely cause a huge uproar in the Great Qin Empire. Lu Xingchen said. He's a clone of me. Clone? The state preceptor frowned and asked suspiciously, why do you want to make such a clone? To hide the truth? Who do you think you are? Do you have the qualifications to make me answer your question? Lu Xingchen said proudly, his eyes full of contempt. The state preceptor wasn't angry and secretly sneered. What are you being arrogant for? Now you're just a ruler of a fallen country. Lu Xingchen said, as long as I'm alive, the Heavenly Sun Empire will continue to exist. Wishful thinking. The Heavenly Sun Empire has been destroyed. Now it's the Great Qin Empire that controls the rivers and mountains. Even you, Mu Tianyang, are powerless to reverse the situation. Besides, you don't have the ability now, do you? The state preceptor mocked. Preposterous. Mu Zhongyun couldn't help but go down and was about to fight. Lu Xingchen waved his hand and said, it's just a clown. There's no need to bother with him. Let's go. Finished. Lu Xingchen opened a teleportation door and walked in without looking back. Mu Zhongyun looked at the state preceptor gloomily and quickly followed. I'm a clown. Looking at the backs of the two, the state preceptor muttered to himself, his eyes flashing with strong killing intent. Following closely, he also opened a teleportation door and descended in front of a courtyard. The scenery here was beautiful and pleasant. A waterfall poured down from the top of the mountain and converged into a lake beside the courtyard. The lake water was clear and rippling. An old man with white hair sat quietly by the lake. It was Emperor Hong. The state preceptor walked to the front of Emperor Hong and said in a deep voice, they are really from the Mu family. And Lu Xingchen even personally admitted that he is Mu Tianyang. Mu Tianyang. Emperor Hong pondered for a moment and sighed. I really didn't expect that Mu Tianyang is still alive. Why didn't father eliminate the root of the problem? Between the words there was an unresolvable worry. That's right. If back then the previous emperor could eliminate the root of the problem, how could today's matter happen? According to my inquiries in the past 10,000 years, the Mu family has been recuperating in the Forgotten Continent, and their overall strength has surpassed ours. Mu Zhongyun and Mu Zhongfeng have both broken through to the peak of the false god realm. But fortunately, Qin Feiyang recently went to the Mu family once, causing the Mu family to suffer heavy losses, and even lost a false god. Otherwise, with our current strength, I'm afraid we really can't stop them, the state preceptor said. Heavy losses? Emperor Hong was stunned and asked, how bad? I'm afraid you won't believe it even if I tell you. The Mu family's 8-star war emperor, 9-star war emperor, and 9-star war emperor, originally numbered in the thousands, But at that time they were all killed by Qin Feiyang. As for Yiglao, I heard that his fate was even worse. He was forced to self-destruct in the endless sea. Moreover, the medicinal field that the Mu family had accumulated for tens of thousands of years was also looted by Qin Feiyang. Also, the Mu family's 1-star to 7-star war emperor were all massacred. In other words, in the current Mu family, other than Mu Tianyang and the others, the strongest is the 9-star war saint. The state preceptor laughed. Emperor Hong was dumbfounded. The dignified Mu family, because of a mere Qin Feiyang, had actually fallen to such a state? If these words didn't come from the state preceptor's mouth, he wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. Emperor Hong said, "In that case, although Qin Feiyang has been opposing us all these years, he has also been silently contributing to the great Qin Empire?" The state preceptor's eyes flashed, and he coldly snorted, "I'm afraid it's not for our great Qin Empire." Then why did he deal with the Mu family? Emperor Hong frowned. "I think it's for his own selfish desires. He's thinking about the Mu family's medicinal field." Moreover, in the Forgotten Continent, the Mu family had repeatedly tried to kill him. With his personality, he will definitely think of ways to take revenge on the Mu family. The state preceptor sneered. "That makes sense." Emperor Hong nodded and asked, "Then now, how many fake gods does the Mu family have?" "According to my investigation, there are only Mu Changfeng, Mu Changyuan, and Mu Tianyang himself," the state preceptor said. "Then the Mu family is nothing to worry about." Emperor Hong waved his hand. "The Mu family is nothing to worry about now, but according to my investigation, the Mu family has given birth to another monster. This person is called Mu Qing, and he has opened a battle soul called Heaven's Eye. He can ignore all space, the barriers of all continents, and spy on all living things in the world," the state preceptor said in a deep voice. "Heaven's Eye." Emperor Hong's eyes trembled, and he said, "This old man has also heard of this battle soul. It's rarer than any other battle soul, and the threat is great. If there's a chance, we must eliminate this person." "I think so too," the state preceptor said, his eyes flashing with killing intent. And then he said, "In addition, there's one more thing that's very troublesome." "What is it?" Emperor Hong was suspicious. The state preceptor said, "I believe you also know that to open the miracle, you need a key." "I know. Back then, my father personally told me, and there are also records in ancient history. This key is in the hands of the main tower. They are Heavenly Starflame, Heavenly Thunderflame, Ice Flame, and to enter the miracle, you also need these 10 types of fire. Otherwise you will be torn apart by the space-time storm. So, during this period of time you have to build a good relationship with the people of the main tower, or think of a way to get 1 or 2 types of fire from the main tower. As long as you can get it, no matter what price you have to pay, it doesn't matter." Emperor Hong said, "If these 10 types of fire are still in the main tower, I'm sure I can get 1 or 2 types of fire. But the problem now is that these 10 types of fire are not in the hands of the main tower," the state preceptor said. "How is that possible?" "My father said that from ancient times until now, these fire have been kept by the main tower." Emperor Hong looked at him in surprise. "It's true. The last time I sent someone to investigate the situation of the Forgotten Continent, there was news about these fire. It said that these fire have been snatched away," the state preceptor said. Emperor Hong suddenly stood up and asked, "Who?" "Qin Feiyang and Mu Jia," the state preceptor said word by word. Emperor Hong's face was dull, and his whole person was not good. "Sir, what do you think we should do now? With our relationship with Qin Feiyang and Mu Jia, they definitely won't give us the fire. In other words, even if the space-time door is open every day, even if we can enter the central divine kingdom, even if we can reach the entrance of the miracle, we can only watch them enter." The state preceptor at this moment seemed to be a little out of his wits. Emperor Hong returned to the stone bench, his brows tightly locked together. "How about we go find the snow python?" The state preceptor's eyes suddenly lit up, and he suggested, "Do you think the snow python will help us?" As the guardian of the Forgotten Continent, the snow python must know that the fire is in the hands of the Mu Jia and Qin Feiyang. If she will help us, when the space-time door was opened, connecting the imperial capital and the central divine kingdom, she would have already asked the Mu Jia and Qin Feiyang to hand over the fire. But she didn't do that. I think she means that she will allow us to enter the miracle, but whether we can enter in the end depends on our own ability. Emperor Hong said. Then we can't just give up like this, right? The state preceptor raised his eyebrows. Emperor Hong waved his hand and said, let this old man think about it. If there's nothing else, you can go first. Good. The state preceptor nodded, looked deeply at the back of Emperor Hong, then turned around and strode away. Qin Feiyang, what kind of person are you? Attacking the Mujia, is it to vent your personal anger? Or for the safety of Great Qin? Also, why are you involved in every single one of these things? Chapter 1408. At the same time, Qin Feiyang also received Lu Xingchen's message. The two agreed to meet at the Black Dragon Pool. Black Dragon Pool. It has been a long time since the last time he set up a trap for Yin Wei to sneak into the state preceptor's side. The broken mountains and earth have long been covered with dense vegetation, full of vitality. Above a mountain peak, Lu Xingchen stood with his hands behind his back, facing the wind, looking down at the mountains and rivers below. His eyes were calm and no one knew what he was thinking. Mu Zhongyun stood silently behind him. When Qin Feiyang comes, I won't allow you to do anything improper. Suddenly, Lu Xingchen opened his mouth. Why? He tricked our Mujia so much. Can't I teach him a lesson and let him taste the pain of flesh and blood? Mu Zhongyun was dissatisfied. To achieve great things you must learn to be patient. Lu Xingchen said. Mu Zhongyun still wanted to say something. Lu Xingchen abruptly turned his head to stare at him, his eyes carrying a merciless coldness as he said, if this emperor's plan is ruined because of you, then even if you are this emperor's son, this emperor will not let you off. Zhongyun doesn't dare. Zhongyun knows his mistake. Mu Zhongyun's face changed and quickly bowed. Swish. Soon, a figure appeared in front of the two out of thin air. Who else could it be if it wasn't Qin Feiyang? Lu Xingchen smiled and said, Brother Qin, I haven't seen you for a few days. How have you been? Qin Feiyang was stunned. He originally thought that Lu Xingchen came to denounce him, but he didn't expect that he would try to get close to him. What does he mean? I already know what you did to my Mujia, but it doesn't matter to me. Lu Xingchen said with a smile. Really? Don't treat me like a child and fool me. Qin Feiyang looked at Lu Xingchen warily. It was impossible for anyone to remain indifferent when encountering such a situation. Not to mention Lu Xingchen. He didn't believe that this guy would be so magnanimous. Lu Xingchen said sadly, I'm disappointed by your words. We've been together for so many years. When have I ever lied to you? Then why have you come to the imperial capital this time? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Lu Xingchen said, I have something to discuss with you. What is it? Qin Feiyang frowned. He thought to himself that it was definitely not something good. Lu Xingchen smiled and asked, You definitely know about the miracle, but do you know how to enter it? What do you mean? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. 10 types of alchemy fires are needed to open the divine ruin. Similarly, these alchemy fires are also needed to enter the divine ruin. Because there is a passage inside the gate of the divine ruin. This passage is filled with something called a space-time storm. This space-time storm is extremely lethal. Even a real god of war will die on the spot if he is swept by the space-time storm. Lu Xingchen said. It's so terrifying. Qin Feiyang was shocked. Yes. However, the alchemy fires in our hands can isolate the space-time storm. But each alchemy fire can only bring 1,000 people into the divine ruin at most. Lu Xingchen said. Qin Feiyang frowned and said, You mean the number of people entering the divine ruin is limited? Yes. 10 types of alchemy fires, 10,000 people. So only 10,000 people can enter the divine ruin at most. And there is another condition to enter the divine ruin. The minimum cultivation level to enter is a 1-star god of war. Lu Xingchen said with a smile. Pseudo-gods like you can also enter? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Yes. Gods of war and pseudo-gods can all enter. Lu Xingchen nodded. What about gods of war? Qin Feiyang asked. Gods of war can also enter, but how many gods of war are there in this world? Lu Xingchen smiled faintly. Qin Feiyang was a little uneasy. The snow python was a real god of war. If the snow python also entered the divine ruin on a whim, then even if the divine ruin was full of treasures, no one would be able to snatch them from her. Lu Xingchen said, I have no other purpose in telling you this. I just hope to cooperate with you on a deeper level. Deeper level? Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked in confusion, how so? Now 7 of the 10 alchemy fires are in my hands, and the other 3 are in your hands. In other words, only the 2 of us can enter the divine ruin. Think about it. If only the 2 of us can enter the divine ruin, then wouldn't all the treasures in the divine ruin be ours? Lu Xingchen smiled. Qin Feiyang nodded in realization and smiled. So that's what you're thinking. You're indeed a cunning old fox, but I like it. Every man for himself, and the devil takes the hindmost. Moreover, if Great Qin and Forgotten Continents people also enter the divine ruin, it won't be good for us either, right? Lu Xingchen laughed. That makes sense. Qin Feiyang nodded thoughtfully, then said, but after thinking about it, if only the 2 of us enter the divine ruin, I'll only be at a disadvantage. What do you mean? Lu Xingchen was stunned and said, your Mu clan has Mu Chongyun and Mu Chongfeng, 2 peak semi-divinity realm existences, while I only have Old Man Qin by my side. Moreover, Old Man Qin is just an ordinary semi-divinity realm expert. If you turn your back on me, won't I die? Qin Feiyang joked. Lu Xingchen said, don't worry, I can guarantee that before leaving the divine ruin, I won't do anything to you. Really? Qin Feiyang asked. I, Lu Xingchen, am a man of my word. Lu Xingchen said. Okay, I agree. Qin Feiyang nodded. Brother Qin is indeed a straightforward person. 7 days later, we'll meet at the entrance of the divine ruin. Lu Xingchen was overjoyed and laughed. There are only 7 days left before the divine ruin opens. Okay, Qin Feiyang said. Then I'll take my leave. Lu Xingchen cupped his hands and smiled, then opened the portal and left with Mu Chongyun. Qin Feiyang looked at the back of the 2, and his eyes flashed slightly, then he also entered the castle. Dan Wangkai said, young master, you have to be careful, there must be a trap. I know. Lu Xingchen hasn't killed me yet, probably because he wants me to help him do something in the divine ruin. When I help him do this, I'm sure that he will immediately kill me. Qin Feiyang said with a faint smile. Dan Wangkai said in surprise, so, the deep cooperation he's talking about now is actually preparation for the future? Yes. He should be doing this to prevent Emperor Hong. After all, Emperor Hong is my great-grandfather. He's worried that when he kills me, Emperor Hong will help me out of consideration for family ties. Most importantly, he has been coveting the castle in Changshui for a long time and doesn't want a third person to interfere. If only I go in with him when I die, won't Changshui and the castle be in his pocket? Qin Feiyang said with a smile. This is a killing trap and you can still laugh? Dan Wangkai was speechless. So what if it's a killing trap? In this world, he's not the only one who knows how to set up a killing trap. Since he wants to plot against me, I might as well beat him at his own game. Qin Feiyang said. Dan Wangkai was slightly stunned and said, so, you've already thought of a countermeasure? I think it's not only us, but also the Lu family wants to see a place like the divine ruin. Qin Feiyang chuckled and turned to look at Lu Zheng, who was meditating with his eyes closed. Dan Wangkai also looked at Lu Zheng, with a strange color in his eyes. Lu Zheng helplessly opened his eyes, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, I knew you wouldn't forget my Lu family. How about it? Take me to the Lu family. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. That won't do. Without second grandpa's consent, I wouldn't dare to take you there. Lu Zheng shook his head like a rattle drum. Hearing this, Dan Wangkai couldn't help but snicker. This guy didn't know that Qin Feiyang had already been to the Lu family. Second grandpa and third grandpa already knew. Qin Feiyang also smiled meaningfully, stepped forward, grabbed Lu Zheng, and descended over the black dragon pool. I said I can't go, so I can't go. Don't force me, okay? Lu Zheng looked at him angrily. I won't force you and I don't need you to lead the way because I know where the Lu family is. Qin Feiyang chuckled and opened a portal. You know? Are you talking in your sleep? Lu Zheng looked at him in astonishment. You'll know soon whether I'm talking in my sleep or not. Qin Feiyang grabbed Lu Zheng and rushed into the portal. Swish. The next moment, the two landed over a square. On the square there were two statues of deities. One statue was riding a purple gold dragon, and the other was riding a flaming divine wind. From afar they looked like two overlords of heaven and earth, exuding a king's aura that could intimidate all things. This is... Lu Zheng looked at the square and the two statues, and his expression suddenly became dull. Wasn't this the place of inheritance of the Lu family? How did Qin Feiyong know the coordinates? Third Grandpa was still sitting cross-legged under the stone tablet as before. There was no aura around him, and he looked like an old grandpa next door. He looked kind and kind. Third Grandpa opened his eyes when he sensed the auras of Qin Feiyong and Xiao Chan. He raised his head and looked at the two of them. A smile immediately appeared on his old face. He looked at Qin Feiyong and said, "You are back." Yes. Lu Zheng nodded. But then he was stunned again, because he found that Third Grandpa wasn't talking to him at all. What was going on? At this moment his mind was in a mess. Qin Feiyong looked at Lu Zheng in amusement, landed next to Third Grandpa and bowed. "Greetings, Third Grandpa. We all know what Emperor Hong did to you. You've been wronged." Third Grandpa grabbed Qin Feiyong's hand and sighed. "It's okay." Qin Feiyong smiled. Third Grandpa sighed. "You silly child, don't always be so stubborn. If you feel wrong, just say it. It's uncomfortable to keep it in your heart. I've long been used to it. There's nothing to feel uncomfortable about." Qin Feiyong waved his hand and asked with a smile, "How are you and Second Grandpa recently?" Third Grandpa said, "We're all the same. There's no illness or disaster, and we're carefree. I really envy you. When will I be able to live a life like yours?" Qin Feiyong said with a smile, his face full of yearning. "Brat, your life has just begun and you want to slack off?" Third Grandpa scolded with a smile. Qin Feiyong chuckled and scratched his head, looking very naive. Chapter 1409. Wait. What the hell is going on? Lu Zheng came to his senses and quickly flew down, looking at the two of them suspiciously. Qin Feiyong had never been to the Lu family before, had he? But why did he seem so familiar with Third Grandpa now? It didn't seem like the first time they had met. Third Grandpa's face darkened and he said, "You still have the nerve to ask. Isn't it all because of you?" "Me?" Lu Zheng pointed at his nose, looking confused. Third Grandpa rolled his eyes at him and looked at Qin Feiyong with a smile. "Let's go to the village and have a good chat with your Second Grandpa." "Okay." Qin Feiyong nodded. Third Grandpa glanced at Lu Zheng again and said angrily, "What are you waiting for? Lead the way." "Oh." Lu Zheng responded and turned to fly toward the village with a stomach full of doubts. "Feiyong will take his leave." Qin Feiyong bowed to Third Grandpa and quickly caught up with Lu Zheng. "Little cousin, what the hell is going on?" Lu Zheng turned back and looked at him in confusion. Qin Feiyong said with a smile, "Actually, I've been here a long time ago." "You've been here?" Lu Zheng was stunned. "Yes." Qin Feiyong nodded. "When?" "Why don't I know?" Lu Zheng frowned. One had to know. During this period, he had been following Qin Feiyong. If Qin Feiyong really came to the Lu family, it was impossible for him not to know. Qin Feiyong said, "Last time when you came back with the 10,000 beasts portrait, I followed you here." "What?" Lu Zheng was stunned, and then he suddenly became angry. He grabbed Qin Feiyong's clothes and roared, "How dare you follow me?" Qin Feiyong faintly sighed and said, "I just want to know where grandfather lives. Is there a need to make it sound so unpleasant?" Looking at Qin Feiyong's expression, Lu Zheng couldn't help but feel a trace of sympathy. He said, "But you still can't follow me. If Second Grandpa finds out about this, won't he scold me to death?" Qin Feiyong said with an embarrassed smile, "Second Grandpa already knows." "Bastard!" When Lu Zheng heard this, he was furious again and punched Qin Feiyong in the stomach with all his might. Boom! Qin Feiyong smashed into the mountains below like a meteorite, creating a huge crater in the ground. His hair was disheveled and his face dirty, and he looked rather miserable. What happened? Third Grandpa was just about to close his eyes and meditate, but when he heard the commotion, he immediately got up and took a step forward. In an instant he landed beside Lu Zheng. When he saw Qin Feiyong lying in the crater with blood flowing out, he immediately glared at Lu Zheng and said, What are you doing? Lu Zheng said. He followed me. Can't I beat him up? Third grandpa said angrily. He followed you to the Lu family. That's his ability. You should reflect on yourself instead of yelling here, understand? Lu Zheng still wanted to argue. What? You're not convinced. Do you want to go to Devil's Cliff to reflect on your mistakes? Third grandpa's eyes flashed coldly. Devil's Cliff? Lu Zheng's expression changed. He quickly waved his hand and said with a flattering smile, Okay. I'll reflect on myself. I'll definitely reflect on myself seriously. As long as I don't go to Devil's Cliff. That's more like it. Third grandpa glared at him, then lowered his head to look at Qin Feiyang. He was slightly stunned. Why was this kid still lying in the crater? Could it be that Lu Zheng, that little bastard, hurt him in some vital part? Thinking of this, he hurriedly flew to Qin Feiyang, squatted on the ground and asked, How are you? Qin Feiyang clutched his stomach and said in pain, My sea of qi. Not only was his face pale, but his forehead was also full of sweat. Seeing this, Lu Zheng frowned slightly and landed beside Qin Feiyang. He snorted coldly and said, Don't pretend. I didn't use my full strength at all in that punch just now. Besides, even if I used my full strength, I couldn't have seriously injured you. In the past, Lu Zheng's cultivation was stronger than Qin Feiyang's. But now, Qin Feiyang had surpassed him. Shut up. But before he finished speaking, Third grandpa turned his head to look at Lu Zheng and shouted. Lu Zheng pursed his lips and fell silent. Third grandpa looked at Qin Feiyang again and asked, What's wrong with your sea of qi? Qin Feiyang said, It's broken. Bastard. He's your cousin. How could you do that? Third grandpa was instantly enraged and shouted at Lu Zheng. Lu Zheng's expression also changed slightly. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, You're not joking with me, right? With my current cultivation, how could I break your sea of qi with one punch? My current cultivation is higher than yours, but just now I was not prepared at all. You gave me a punch. I'm lucky that I'm still alive, Qin Feiyang said intermittently. His voice was extremely weak. Don't talk now, Third grandpa hurriedly said. Then he took out a spiritual sea pill and stuffed it into Qin Feiyang's mouth. Qin Feiyang was surprised to find that this spiritual sea pill had 6 veins. This meant that the Lu family had an alchemist who was more powerful than Dan Wangkai. Who was this alchemist? Lu Zheng was completely dumbfounded. He looked down at his fist and muttered, This is impossible. After giving Qin Feiyang the spirit sea pill, Third grandpa suddenly stood up. He turned his head to look at Lu Zheng and said, You disappoint me too much. Immediately go to Devil's Cliff and face the wall for 3 days. Don't. When Lu Zheng heard this, he immediately looked at Third grandpa pitifully and begged, Grandpa, I know I'm wrong, okay? I'll apologize to my cousin. No, you must go. Third grandpa's attitude was very firm. There was no room for discussion. I'm not going, Lu Zheng shook his head. He would rather die than submit. You're really not going? Third grandpa asked. There was a cold light in his old eyes. Go. Seeing this, Lu Zheng's face turned slightly pale. He quickly nodded. But before he left, he glared fiercely at Qin Feiyang, as if to say, Bastard, just wait and see. Qin Feiyang also returned a look to Lu Zheng. Little guy, you're still too young to fight with me. Obviously, the broken sea of energy was just an act. After Lu Zheng left, Third grandpa shook his head helplessly. He stood up and smiled. Get up, stop pretending. Qin Feiyang was stunned. He smiled and said, You've already found out. Why don't you take a look at my cultivation? Do you think you can hide from my eyes whether or not your sea of energy is broken? Third grandpa rolled his eyes. Qin Feiyang got up and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He looked at Third grandpa with an embarrassed expression. I don't object to this at home. After all, you're still young and still have the innocence of a child. But outside, you two brothers must be united. Do you understand? Third grandpa said. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded heavily. Then go. Third grandpa smiled and waved his hand. Okay. Qin Feiyang turned into a stream of light, rose into the air, and flew toward the village. At this moment he was very happy. But the reason for his happiness was not because he had tricked Lu Zheng once. It was because of what Third Grandpa said before. Third Grandpa said that it was okay to make a scene at home. This home referred to the Liu family. In other words, Third Grandpa did not treat him as an outsider. His sense of belonging to this place was getting stronger and stronger. Although he was born in the imperial palace, he always thought that his first home was in Iron Ox Town, and the Liu family would become his second home in the Great Qin Empire. In the village, as usual, the men were farming and herding outside, and the women were doing housework at home. The children were playing everywhere, and there was constant laughter. The old people gathered together to chat, drink tea, and play chess. Although it was ordinary, it was blissful. Second Grandpa, what story are you going to tell us today? In front of a courtyard, a group of children around 7 to 9 years old surrounded an old man in sackcloth, their faces full of anticipation. The old man in sackcloth was lying on an old-fashioned wooden armchair, looking at the group of children in front of him with a loving smile on his old face. Today, Second Grandpa will tell you about a person called Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang. Who is he? Is he very powerful? The group of children asked curiously. Second Grandpa smiled and said, he's not very powerful, but on this continent, there's no one who doesn't know his name. Second Grandpa, we don't agree with what you said. Do you know why? The two young men said with a serious face. Why? Second Grandpa looked at them suspiciously. You just said that there's no one who doesn't know his name, but we don't. Doesn't this prove that you're fooling us? The two young men said. The other children also nodded in agreement. Second Grandpa was stunned. For a moment he did not know how to answer. Whoosh! Suddenly, there was a sound of something piercing through the air. Second Grandpa looked up, and his face was full of smiles. Then, he looked at the children and said with a smile, you'll know soon because he's here in person. In person? The group of children looked up and saw a young man in white flying toward the village like lightning. At the same time, the old people in the village, the women, and the busy men outside the village also noticed the figure. Qin Feiyang? Why is this child here? I heard that last time he came here secretly and got the inheritance of our ancestors. He's quite capable. Are you kidding? Don't you know whose descendant he is? Whether it's the Liu family or the Qin clan, our genes are not bad. Not to mention that he's the product of our two families. The people started to talk. Everyone's face was full of the most sincere smiles. Whoosh! After a few breaths, Qin Feiyang flew into the sky above the village. Looking at the simple and sincere smiles of everyone, his sense of belonging to this place went further. This was the life he wanted. How comfortable and happy it would be for a family to live together without any worries and worries. His face was also full of an innocent smile. Whoosh! He landed in the village. The people in the village came from all directions. Second Grandpa also got up and walked slowly toward Qin Feiyang with a group of children. Feiyang, you're here. How have you been these years? But then again, the last time we saw you was many years ago. Yes. I still remember that you had just learned to walk at that time. You came back with your mother, wearing open crotch pants all day long, running around and causing chaos in the village. Chapter 14:10. Really? Qin Feiyang was stunned. He really didn't remember these things. These are all things that happened when you were young. You definitely don't remember. But it doesn't matter. You just need to go home. Everyone here is your family. Although we haven't helped you much over the years, we've always been worried about you and your mother, people said. Qin Feiyang glanced at the strange faces in front of him. Although they were strangers, the kinship that blood was thicker than water could not be erased. His heart couldn't help but tremble. His eyes couldn't help but moisten. Because in this world there was a group of lovely people who missed him and missed him. Greetings, grandpas, grandmas, uncles, aunts. At the same time, I also greet you on behalf of my mother. Qin Feiyang knelt on the ground and bowed. Good. Son, get up. From now on, this is your home. You can come back whenever you want. We don't treat you as an outsider. Don't treat us as outsiders either. Several old people nodded with relief and stepped forward to help Qin Feiyang up. Their old eyes were also filled with tears. Especially when they thought of Qin Feiyang's experience over the years, they couldn't help but feel sad. No, You will always be Feiyong's family, Qin Feiyong said with a smile. Some women and old people looked at Qin Feiyong silently. At this moment they were all smiling and crying. Mom, why are you crying? A 5-year-old child looked at his mother in confusion. Mom is not crying. She is happy, the child's mother replied. This time, the crowd gradually dispersed. Second grandpa walked over step by step and stopped in front of Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong looked at second grandpa. Second grandpa also looked at Qin Feiyong. None of them spoke. At this moment, the village was particularly quiet. After an unknown amount of time, Qin Feiyong strode forward and walked in front of second grandpa. He knelt on the ground and said, "This unfilial grandson, Qin Feiyong, pays respect to second grandpa." Unfilial, second grandpa muttered to himself. His old face was gradually filled with guilt. He reached out to help Qin Feiyong up. "Child, how can you say that about yourself? For the sake of your mother, you even disregarded your own life. Who in this world is more filial than you?" "It's second grandpa. I should apologize to you." Second grandpa sighed, his face full of self-blame. No, you didn't let me down, nor did anyone in the Lu family. The one who let me down was the emperor, the Hong emperor, and those so-called family members of mine in the imperial palace. Qin Feiyong said. Everyone was silent. It could be seen that Qin Feiyong's resentment toward the people of the imperial palace was extraordinarily deep. "Child, since you're here, you don't have to think so much anymore. Yeah. In our place, let alone killing, we don't even have to scheme against each other. You can take this opportunity to relax." The old men laughed. "All right." Qin Feiyong nodded. "All right, everyone go and get ready. Feiyong, this child has finally come back. We have to celebrate." "All right." The crowd quickly dispersed. The women of each family were busy. Seeing this scene, Qin Feiyong's heart was especially warm. He smiled and said, "It's good to have a family." When second grandpa heard this, he blamed himself even more. He also regretted it. Why did he have to worry so much and not bring Qin Feiyong to the Lu family earlier? She had let him suffer so much outside alone. Qin Feiyong laughed and said, "Second grandpa, take me around." "All right." Second grandpa nodded. "Our village only has a total of 1,000 families. Including the elderly and children, there are more than 5,000 people. However, don't underestimate everyone. Because among these 5,000 people, half of them have the cultivation of the War Emperor. There are more than 1,000 9-star War Emperor. Moreover, the fierce beasts within a radius of 10,000 miles of the village are all raised by our Lu family. There are at least 8,000 9-star Emperor beasts, if not 10,000. As for 1-star to 8-star Emperor beasts, there are too many to count." Second grandpa introduced with a smile as he brought Qin Feiyong around the village. "What?" Qin Feiyong was stunned. More than 1,000 9-star War Emperors were already very shocking. There were actually so many 9-star Emperor beasts? There were at least 8,000 if not 10,000. Oh my god! What kind of concept was this? One had to know that there were only 80 or 99-star Emperor beasts in the ancient pagoda. At first there were more than 100 of them. However, many of them died when they fought with the descendants of the imperial preceptor in the Sea of Reincarnation. As for the 9-star War Emperors, there were only 18 of them, Wang Yangfeng. Although they had all stepped into the peak of the 9-star War Emperor realm, compared to the Lu family, they were not worth mentioning. Qin Feiyong asked, "How many people are at the peak of the 9-star War Emperor realm?" "Seems to be 200 or 300. The elders who spoke to you just now are all at the peak of the 9-star War Emperor realm," second grandpa said with a smile. Qin Feiyong was secretly speechless. No wonder he could not sense any aura from those elders earlier. The people of the Lu family do not really care about cultivation. As long as we can live together, see each other every day and be happy. Second grandpa said, "When can my mother and I be like you?" Sigh. Qin Feiyong sighed softly. Second grandpa stopped and turned to look at Qin Feiyong. He said with a smile, "Don't be too stubborn. Let nature take its course. Your obsession now is too deep. I'm afraid it will hinder you from becoming a god in the future." "How can I become a god?" Qin Feiyong asked. "Let go of everything and return to your original intention and heart. This is the profound meaning of becoming a god. Actually, it's not difficult, but it's not easy either. It all depends on one's state of mind. With your talent, you will step into the peak of the 9-star War Emperor realm sooner or later. Let go of your obsession. This is what you should do now. Second Grandpa said. Let go of my obsession. Qin Feiyong murmured and shook his head. He said, my obsession is deeply rooted. How can I let it go just like that? Moreover, it was because of my obsession that I gave birth to the inner demons. Second Grandpa sighed softly and said, the appearance of the inner demons has already sealed your fate. What fate? Qin Feiyong was suspicious. You can't become a god. Because the inner demons are the source of all obsessions. As long as the inner demons exist, so will the obsessions. Unless you can kill the inner demons. Second Grandpa said, kill the inner demons. Qin Feiyong's eyes trembled. In the inner world, the inner demons heard Second Grandpa's words. Their bodies could not help but tremble violently. They said, Deity, we have fought side by side for so many years. You can't be so heartless. Qin Feiyong shook his head and smiled. He secretly comforted them. Don't worry. As long as I'm here, you will always exist. Hearing this, the inner demons breathed a sigh of relief. Qin Feiyong asked Second Grandpa, is there any other way to become a god other than cutting off one's obsession? No. Second Grandpa shook his head. If you have to cut off your obsession to become a god, then why can ambitious people like the state preceptor and Mu Chongfeng also become gods? Qin Feiyong frowned. Becoming a god doesn't mean that you have to be pure of heart and few desires. For example, this old man. Don't think that this old man is carefree now. In fact, this old man also has obsessions and desires. However, when comprehending the profound meaning of becoming a god, we must first let go of these things. This is a very difficult process. Some people may not be able to do it in their entire lives. Second Grandpa said. So that's how it is. Qin Feiyong nodded in understanding. This old man doesn't want to say anything about you, and I'm not qualified to say anything. However, this old man heard from Lu Zheng about your relationship with the inner demons. If you want to become a god, you have to make a choice. Second Grandpa said solemnly. A choice? Qin Feiyong looked up at the sky and said, I won't let go of my obsession, and I won't cut off the inner demons. However, I won't give up on becoming a god either. At this moment, his eyes looked extremely deep, as if they could pierce through time and space and peer into the high and mighty sky. If you don't get rid of the inner demons, how can you become a god? Second Grandpa frowned. There will always be a way. If there really isn't, then I will open up a cultivation path that belongs to me. Qin Feiyong clenched his hands, and a dazzling light burst out of his eyes. Open up a cultivation path that belongs to me. Second Grandpa's body and mind trembled. How much confidence and courage did he have to say something like that? He looked at Qin Feiyong at this moment. He felt that the thin figure seemed to be quietly giving birth to a supreme domineering aura. Can you really do it? Second Grandpa murmured in his heart. He calmed down and said with a smile, opening up a cultivation path that belongs to you is countless times more difficult than comprehending the profound meaning of becoming a god. Since ancient times, no one has ever done it. However, this old man is looking forward to it. Qin Feiyong smiled and didn't continue the topic. The group of children had been following Qin Feiyong and Second Grandpa. They looked at Qin Feiyong with curiosity in their big eyes. Qin Feiyong looked at them. Although these children were young, according to his observation, each of them had extraordinary talent. If nothing unexpected happened, they would be the future heavenly talents of the great Qin Empire. A snot-nosed child ran to Second Grandpa and asked Second Grandpa, is he the Qin Feiyong you wanted to tell us about just now? Yes. Second Grandpa nodded. The snot-nosed child glanced at Qin Feiyong and said, he doesn't look that big of a deal. Yes. I thought he was someone great. Turns out he's not that great. The other children also nodded. Qin Feiyong was stunned. He was actually being looked down upon by a group of children? Are you not convinced? If you have the ability, you can compete with Big Brother Lu Zheng. I feel that you're far inferior to Big Brother Lu Zheng. The snot-nosed child clamored. Qin Feiyong also became playful. He said jokingly, little brat, Your big brother Lu Zheng is now facing the wall at Devil's Cliff to reflect on his mistakes. What? Devil's Cliff? The children's expressions changed when they heard the words, Devil's Cliff. The snot-nosed child asked suspiciously, did big brother Zheng do something wrong? Why is he facing the wall at Devil's Cliff? He didn't do anything wrong. I used a little trick to make him face the wall at Devil's Cliff. Now tell me, between your big brother Lu Zheng and me, who is more powerful? Chapter 14:11. It can't be. Are you that capable? The snot-nosed kid was stunned. If you don't believe me, you can go to the Devil Cliff and take a look, Qin Feiyong said, but he was a little puzzled. What was so scary about the Devil Cliff? Not only Lu Zheng but even these little kids were afraid. No. The snot-nosed kid shook his head and said, if you have the ability, you can go and fight with Brother Jean. I guarantee that you won't be able to take one move from him. Brother Jean? Qin Feiyong was stunned. Who was this? You don't even know who Brother Jean is? You're really ignorant. Let me tell you, Brother Jean stepped into the Battle Monarch realm at the age of 10 and the Battle Emperor realm at the age of 50. Second Grandpa and the others all said that Brother Jean is a genius that only appears once in 100,000 years. He's more powerful than anyone in the world. The snot-nosed kid first looked down on Qin Feiyong, then raised his little head and said proudly, he stepped into the Battle Emperor realm at the age of 50. Qin Feiyong was shocked. He turned to look at Second Grandpa with a questioning gaze. Don't listen to these little kids. It's not that exaggerated. However, one thing is true. Jean Er's talent is indeed better than Zheng Er's. Second Grandpa smiled. Then who is he? Qin Feiyong asked. After being together for so long, he naturally knew how talented Lu Zheng was. It was no exaggeration to say that Lu Zheng's talent could be ranked in the top 10 in the entire Great Qin Empire. However, he didn't expect that there was someone in the Lu family who was more talented than Lu Zheng. How could he not be surprised? Second Grandpa smiled and said, he's your eldest cousin Lu Jijin. He's also Lu Zheng's elder brother. Qin Feiyong nodded and said with a smile, I'm really looking forward to meeting him. Second Grandpa said, Jean Er is in seclusion to break through to the semi-divinity realm. However, there will be plenty of opportunities in the future. What? Qin Feiyong turned pale with fright. He originally thought that his eldest cousin was just in seclusion to cultivate normally. He didn't expect that he was actually trying to break through to the semi-divinity realm. This was too terrifying. There's another interesting thing. Second Grandpa said again. Interesting. Qin Feiyong was stunned and asked suspiciously, what interesting thing? He and Zhuge Mingyang were born in the same year, the same month and the same day. They were even born at the same time. Second Grandpa said with a smile. No way. Qin Feiyong was stunned. How could there be such a coincidence? Absolutely. Second Grandpa said. Then this cousin of mine is really not simple. Qin Feiyong murmured. The two of them were born on the same day and at the same time. But now, his cousin was already pushing for a breakthrough to the semi-divinity realm. However, Zhuge Mingyang's current cultivation was even lower than his. The gap between them was too big. However, the Lu family had all kinds of potential pills recipes. As the prodigy of the Lu family, Lu Jijin must have unlocked the door of potential just like Lu Zheng. His cultivation speed was naturally not something that Zhuge Mingyang could compare with. In terms of talent and potential, the two of them should be on par. Although your cousin's talent is extraordinary, he has been very low-key since he was a child. And like you, he is a cultivation maniac. So all these years no one knows his name. Even the state preceptor and your father know that there is such a person in the Lu family, but they don't know his talent and cultivation. Second Grandpa said with a smile. Qin Feiyong's face darkened and said, don't mention him in front of me. Of course he was referring to the Emperor. Second Grandpa also realized that he had said something wrong and a trace of apology appeared on his face. Qin Feiyong asked, where is my cousin in seclusion now? Second Grandpa said, in the forbidden area of the back mountain. I know what you want to do. But don't disturb him now. Okay. Qin Feiyong nodded and couldn't help but feel disappointed. Hearing about him was not as good as meeting him in person. Frankly speaking, He really wanted to see just how monstrous this cousin of his was. Swish! But at this moment, a white figure appeared out of nowhere in the sky above the village. It was a young man about 185 meters tall, with a handsome face and a tall figure. His snow-white clothes were spotless. His long black hair was casually draped behind his back, fluttering in the wind. There was no aura around him at all, as if he was one with the void. Even his arrival was not noticed by anyone in the village. It's Brother Jean. Brother Jean is back. The first to notice the young man in white were a few teenagers. They looked at the young man in white and exclaimed in surprise. Second grandpa was stunned and looked up. Qin Feiyong's eyes also trembled slightly, and he immediately looked up at the young man in white. Is he my cousin? Although this young man in white had no aura at all, he gave him a great sense of danger. Jean, why are you back? Second grandpa looked at the young man in white suspiciously. Suddenly, he seemed to think of something and asked in surprise, have you made a breakthrough? The young man in white looked at second grandpa with a face full of respect, but he didn't answer second grandpa. Instead, he turned his eyes and fell on Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong didn't evade at all. The two pairs of eyes collided in the void. All of a sudden, Lu Jijin raised his arm and hooked his finger at Qin Feiyong. The meaning was self-evident. He was provoking Qin Feiyong. Jinder, don't mess around. Second grandpa frowned and said, swish. But before his voice died away, Qin Feiyong jumped and directly landed in the void opposite Lu Jijin. Come on everyone. There's a good show to watch. Brother Jean, come on. Beat him down. The snotty kid immediately shouted excitedly. The other children also looked excited. It's Jean. Why is he back? When everyone heard the snotty kid's voice, they looked up at Lu Jijin with eyes full of suspicion. Suddenly, an old man's face changed and said in shock, are they going to fight? Jean, your cousin just came back. You can't bully him. Yes. Your cousin is only a 4-star combat emperor. How can he be your opponent? Don't mess around. Come down quickly. The group of old men immediately tried to persuade them. But whether it was Lu Jijin or Qin Feiyong, they turned a deaf ear to them. They only had eyes for each other. Boom! A gust of emperor aura suddenly rushed out from Lu Jijin's body. But this emperor aura wasn't strong. It was only at the level of a 4-star combat emperor. And the cultivation level he revealed was only that of a 4-star combat emperor. 4-star combat emperor? Qin Feiyong was stunned. However, when he saw Lu Jijin's expression, Qin Feiyong immediately understood. Lu Jijin deliberately suppressed his cultivation level to the same level as him. In other words, Lu Jijin wanted to have a fair fight with him. Let me see if you are as strong as the rumors say. Lu Jijin finally spoke. His voice had a unique magnetism. It was very pleasant to hear. But Qin Feiyong couldn't hear any emotions from it. He felt that this person was like an emotionless robot. As you wish. Qin Feiyong's lips curled up. The aura of a 4-star combat emperor suddenly erupted. Swish! Following closely. The two of them didn't say anything else. With surging emperor aura, they charged toward each other. Second grandpa, what should we do? A group of old men flew to second grandpa's side and asked anxiously. Second grandpa looked at the two of them in the sky and shook his head with a smile. Jean is just testing Feiyong's strength. Feiyong also wants to spar with Jean. Let them be. Boom! In the sky, Qin Feiyong and Lu Jijin's first confrontation finally erupted. Neither of them retreated. They raised their fists and punched at each other. The moment the two fists collided, an apocalyptic shockwave spread out in all directions with the two of them as the center. Second grandpa waved his hand. The false god force appeared and spread out in all directions. In just a moment, a giant barrier appeared and enveloped the entire village. The shockwave surged like a tide and hit the barrier. However, it didn't cause any waves and instantly dissipated. Jean, you have to know your limits. Don't hurt Feiyong. Some of the old men looked at Lu Jijin and warned him loudly. Qin Feiyong's life was already bumpy. They didn't want Qin Feiyong to be hurt here. Boom! The two of them were in a stalemate in the sky. Around them the wind howled. Terrifying power poured out from their fists and roared in all directions. The void above the village gradually distorted. The two of them stared at each other. Their cold eyes flashed with monstrous battle intent. Puff! 10 breaths later. Qin Feiyong spat out a mouthful of blood. He lost his balance and kept retreating. How could this be? My body has been tempered by divine blood, but I feel powerless in front of him? Qin Feiyong's face was calm, but there was a storm in his heart. At the same time, Lu Jijin also retreated a few steps, but there wasn't even a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. He was still as cold as before. I told you he's definitely no match for Big Brother Jin. The snotty kid's little face was full of pride. He shouted, Big Brother Jin. Beat him up and let him know how powerful we are. You little bastard, do you want to be beaten up? An old man's face darkened. He grabbed the snotty kid's ankle and hung him upside down in the void. He then slapped his little butt. Ouch! The snotty kid immediately wailed in pain. Boom! High in the sky. Qin Feiyong glanced at the snotty kid and looked up at Lu Jijin opposite him. His eyes were full of battle intent. He took a step in the void and stabilized his body. Then, without saying a word, he raised his fist and punched. Stop! But at this time, Lu Jijin stretched out his hand. Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows and stopped in the void, looking at him suspiciously. Lu Jijin looked at Qin Feiyong, and a friendly smile suddenly appeared on his cold face. He said, Little cousin, our fight ends here. What? Qin Feiyong was dumbfounded. He was just in the mood, but the other side stopped? The collision just now is enough to prove that your ability is indeed worthy of your reputation, Lu Jijin said with a smile. There was a touch of appreciation in his eyes. Wait, it's just a collision. How can you judge my ability? Besides, I'm just in the mood, but you stopped. Aren't you deliberately making me feel uncomfortable? Qin Feiyong was dissatisfied. It was like standing in front of a beautiful woman who had already taken off her clothes and was ready to fight, but then told you that her period had come. Haha, Lu Jijin laughed loudly. He looked at Qin Feiyong and said, Right now, the gap between the two of us is too big. I am unable to go all out. In the future, when you step into the false god realm, let's have a good fight. As for how I judge your ability, speaking of this. Chapter 14:12. Divine Might. Qin Feiyong's eyes trembled. Second Grandpa and the others below were stunned at first, but then they all looked like they were wild with joy. Although I suppressed my cultivation, as you can see, I have stepped into the semi-divinity realm. You should also know that after stepping into the semi-divinity realm, my body will undergo a qualitative change. Although we only met once, you were able to hold on for so long without suffering any serious injuries. This is enough to show that you are indeed very powerful. Lu Jijin looked at Qin Feiyong and smiled. Qin Feiyong couldn't help but smile bitterly when he heard this. Breaking through to the semi-divinity realm meant that Lu Jijin had shed his mortal body and become a semi-divinity body. Although his current physical body was very strong compared to a semi-divinity body, there was still a long way to go. After all, a semi-divinity body was considered half a divine body. No wonder he felt a sense of powerlessness when he clashed with Lu Jijin. Huff! Qin Feiyong took a deep breath and said, Thank you for showing mercy, big cousin. You don't have to be humble. Although I suppressed my cultivation, I didn't show mercy. I have high hopes for you. I also believe that it won't be long before you can catch up with me. Lu Jijin smiled. I will work hard. Qin Feiyong nodded. Lu Jijin smiled and looked down at Second Grandpa. Second Grandpa, I still have to stabilize my cultivation, so I will take my leave first. This is the first time you two have met. Don't you want to have a good chat with Feiyong? Moreover, you have successfully stepped into the semi-divinity realm, which is a great thing for the Lu family. We should celebrate. Second Grandpa said, There will be plenty of time in the future. Lu Jijin faintly smiled and nodded to Qin Feiyong. Then, he turned around and left, leaving everyone with a faintly discernible back. Lu Jijin, big cousin. Qin Feiyong looked at the back and muttered to himself. To be able to step into the semi-divinity realm at such a young age, he was truly a monstrous genius. If Zhuge Mingyang knew that the person who was born in the same year, month, And Deism had already stepped into the false divinity realm and stood above the billions of living beings. How would he feel? Time flew by. In the evening, the entire Lu family was enveloped in a festive atmosphere. Firstly, it was because Qin Feiyong had returned. The second reason was because Lu Jijin had suddenly become a pseudo-divinity. Even second grandpa could not help but drink a few more cups. Qin Feiyong really liked this feeling. He was surrounded by his family, and all he heard were concerned voices. There was no fighting or scheming, and everyone was happy and harmonious. That night, he also drank a lot. Midnight. The moon in the sky was very round and the moonlight was hazy. Most of the villagers had already fallen asleep. In a courtyard, Qin Feiyong was sitting at a stone table with second grandpa. They were drinking tea and chatting. Second grandpa smiled and said, "Feiyong, this time you came back. There must be something else, right?" "Yes." Qin Feiyong nodded. "Tell me." Second grandpa said. Qin Feiyong immediately told second grandpa about the 10 types of pill fire and Lu Xingqian's scheme in detail. After listening, second grandpa lowered his head and fell into deep thought. Qin Feiyong did not say anything to disturb him. After a long time, second grandpa's eyes flashed. He looked up at Qin Feiyong and said, "You killed Ren Duxing and severely damaged the Mu family of the Forgotten Continent. Even so, Lu Xingqian still did not do anything to you. It can be seen that he has a big plan." Qin Feiyong nodded. Second grandpa was silent for a moment. He sighed and said, "I know what you mean. You want to beat him at his own game and kill Lu Xingqian to get rid of this disaster. But Feiyong, I can only apologize to you." "Why?" "The last time I came, although I was accepting the inheritance, I know what happened at that time. I remember that in addition to you and third grandpa there were 10 false gods at that time. With such a powerful lineup, I really don't understand. What are you still afraid of?" Qin Feiyong said. "Some things are far more complicated than you think. Although I don't know the background of the Mu family, I'm sure it's not that simple." Second grandpa said. Qin Feiyong frowned and said, "You mean that in addition to Mu Chongyun and Mu Chongfeng, the Mu family is hiding other false gods? That's inevitable. After all, even my Lu family has so many false gods, let alone the ambitious Mu family. However, the Mu family is not the reason why I'm afraid." Second grandpa said with a trace of bitterness. "Then what is the reason?" Qin Feiyong asked. "I can't tell you now. I can only tell you this. Although I also want to enter the miracle site, I can't go. Not only can I not go, but your third grandpa and the 10 false gods that you know can't go either. To be exact, the false gods of our Lu family can't leave the great Qin Empire." Second grandpa sighed, his old face full of disappointment. "Why is that?" Qin Feiyong looked at second grandpa in confusion. This answer was completely out of his expectations. "You will understand in the future. However, although we can't go, your cousin can. Because now, except for our own people, no one knows that he has broken through to the false god realm. I believe that with your cousin's strength and wisdom, he will definitely be able to help you in the miracle site." Second grandpa said with a smile. "As you wish." Qin Feiyong sighed and did not force him to answer. Second grandpa looked at Qin Feiyong deeply and said with a smile, "It's already very late, go and rest." "Okay." Qin Feiyong nodded and then walked to the wooden building. But suddenly, he stopped and turned to look at second grandpa and asked, "What about my grandfather? Why didn't he come to see me when I came back this time?" Second grandpa's hands, which were hidden in his sleeves, suddenly clenched. There was a hint of murderous intent in the depths of his eyes. But Qin Feiyong did not notice any of this, because second grandpa hid it very well. However, seeing that second grandpa did not speak for a long time, Qin Feiyong gradually felt uneasy and asked, "Did something happen to grandpa?" "No. Your grandfather is so powerful. How could something happen to him?" Second grandpa hurriedly said. Qin Feiyong said, "Then why don't you tell me where he is now? Your grandfather is in seclusion. Even I can't see him, let alone you. But don't worry, when he comes out, he will definitely see you immediately." Second grandpa said with a smile. "I hope so." Qin Feiyong sighed. With a heart full of disappointment, he turned and entered the wooden building. His thin back seemed particularly disappointed. "Big brother, Tell me, how should I tell Feiyong about this? If Feiyong knows the truth, I think he will definitely go crazy. I really don't know what to do. Can you give me a hint? Second grandpa sat alone in the night. After watching Qin Feiyong enter the wooden building, he looked at the night sky and muttered to himself. His expression was full of helplessness. That night, it was destined to be a sleepless night. Qin Feiyong lay on the bed, wanting to take the opportunity to have a good sleep. But no matter what he did, he could not fall asleep. Therefore, before dawn, he got up and walked aimlessly in the village. Everything in the village was no different from an ordinary village. If someone who did not know came here, they would definitely think that this was a village where ordinary people lived. There was simplicity in the tranquility. After walking around the village alone, Qin Feiyong stood at the entrance of the village. He did not know where to go next. His heart was very confused. He glanced at the mountain range outside the village. Finally, he stepped forward and walked into the depths of the mountain range step by step. Along the way, he encountered many fierce beasts. There were strong and weak ones. But these fierce beasts were very docile, just watching him from afar. Gradually, the horizon was white. The sun rose from the horizon. The fierce beasts in the mountain range gradually began to become active. But when they saw Qin Feiyong, they silently retreated to the side. These fierce beasts were all raised by the Lu family. Although they had never seen Qin Feiyong before, when Qin Feiyong first entered the Lu family, second grandpa had already told them. In the future, no matter who saw Qin Feiyong, they could not hurt him. Half an hour passed. Qin Feiyong crossed a jungle and a vast plain came into sight. The plain covered an area of over 100 miles. He didn't believe it, so when he saw fourth grandpa, he suddenly asked. Because when a person was faced with a sudden question, they would instinctively answer truthfully. In other words, he was trying to get information from fourth grandpa. Hearing fourth grandpa's straightforward answer, he didn't have any doubts anymore. Qin Feiyong reached out and stroked the walking stick. He asked fourth grandpa, "Can you give this walking stick to me?" "No." Fourth grandpa shook his head. He was very straightforward again. Qin Feiyong smiled helplessly. He held the walking stick with both hands and handed it to fourth grandpa. Fourth grandpa reached out and grabbed the walking stick. He looked up at Qin Feiyong and sighed. "We can understand your feelings, but some things can't be forced." "I understand." Qin Feiyong nodded. "It's good that you understand," fourth grandpa said lightly. Then he asked, "When I saw you enter the herbal field just now, you looked very confused. Were you thinking about something?" Compared with second grandpa and third grandpa, fourth grandpa's character was a little cold. "You knew I entered the herbal field?" Qin Feiyong was surprised. "Of course. As long as someone enters the herbal field, I can sense it immediately," fourth grandpa said. "Then why did you pretend you didn't see it just now?" Qin Feiyong was quite unhappy, but he didn't dare to say it out loud. He nodded and said, "I was thinking about something. This time I came to the Lu family, I thought I could find the answer in my heart, and I also thought I could see grandpa. But in the end I didn't get anything. This makes me very confused. There are a lot of helpless things in this world. Why do you have to be so persistent? Follow your own heart. Do what you should do. Thinking about something you can't figure out will only add to your troubles," fourth grandpa said. "Add to your troubles, follow your own heart," Qin Feiyong murmured. Suddenly, he came to his senses. He bowed and said, "Thank you for your advice, fourth grandpa. Go. Your life has just begun. The road ahead is very long. Do whatever you want to do. Don't leave yourself any regrets," fourth grandpa said with a smile. This was the first time he smiled since he met Qin Feiyong. "Yes," Qin Feiyong replied with a bow. Then he turned into a stream of light and flew toward the village. What a smart boy. If second brother hadn't sent me a message in advance last night and told me clearly, I might have spilled the beans when he suddenly asked me such a question. Looking at Qin Feiyong's back, fourth grandpa shook his head and murmured. Then he closed his eyes again and entered the state of meditation. When Qin Feiyong returned to the village, the sun had risen high in the sky. Most of the villagers had also gotten up. The old people gathered in twos and threes to exercise. The children also faced the morning sun and breathed in the vitality. Smoke rose in spirals over the entire village, presenting a peaceful scene. Feiyang, good morning. Where did you come from? Didn't you sleep last night? When he passed by the village entrance, several burly men who went out to do farm work greeted Qin Feiyang with a smile. They were very friendly. Yes, I slept. But I woke up early in the morning. Seeing that no one was up, I went to the nearby mountains for a walk. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. It seems that you haven't gotten used to our life here. Let me tell you, in our place, whether adults or children, basically sleep and rest every night. Yes, what is the purpose of living in this world? Isn't it to enjoy life? Why do you have to suffer for the pursuit of cultivation? You've just arrived. You certainly can't understand. After waiting for a long time, you'll gradually get used to it. Alright, let's not talk about it. We're going to work. There's still a large wheat field to weed. Let's drink together tonight. The burly men sighed and smiled at Qin Feiyang. Then they carried their hoes and walked towards the wheat field in the distance. Qin Feiyang's eyes were filled with envy as he looked at Uzizi and the others. Although they were burly men, their cultivation wasn't weak. 2 of them were 8-star combat emperors and 4 were 7-star combat emperors. In the outside world, such a cultivation level was enough to dominate a region. But these people lived the lives of ordinary people. Every day they ate, slept, and did farm work. They even enjoyed it. Frankly speaking, even Qin Feiyang felt inferior to such an indifferent state of mind. Shaking his head, Qin Feiyang turned around and entered the village. When a woman saw Qin Feiyang, she waved her hand from afar and said, Feiyang, I just made breakfast. Come and have some. Thank you, Auntie. Second grandpa is still waiting for me at home. I'll visit your house when I'm free. Qin Feiyang smiled. Okay, come over anytime. The woman nodded. Feiyang, come. These are freshly steamed meat buns. Take a few and try them. There's also soy milk. I made it myself. I also have freshly baked old mantou. Take a few and try them too. The villagers were too enthusiastic. Qin Feiyang almost couldn't handle it. However, looking at the smiling faces full of care, his heart felt very warm. This was what family was. Those hypocritical people in the imperial palace, compared to the people here, were simply not worth shit. Soon, he returned to the courtyard. Second grandpa had already woken up and personally prepared breakfast for Qin Feiyang. 2 bowls of millet porridge, 2 portions of stir-fried vegetables, and a plate of kimchi. It was very simple, but it was very warm. The taste was also ordinary, but Qin Feiyang ate it. It was very delicious. Seeing Qin Feiyang eating with relish, second grandpa was also full of smiles and asked, Feiyang, how long are you going to stay this time? Qin Feiyang's arm slightly paused and said, I'll leave tomorrow. So soon? Isn't there still 5 or 6 days before the miracle opens? Second grandpa asked. Qin Feiyang finished the millet porridge in the bowl in one breath, put down the bowl and chopsticks, wiped his mouth, and then looked up at the village and the villagers with a trace of reluctance in his eyes. After a while, Qin Feiyang withdrew his gaze and sighed. I also want to stay here, but there are some things that I have to do. Second grandpa fell silent. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, but when I have time in the future, I will come back. At that time, don't think I'm annoying. What are you talking about? I can't wait to like it. Second grandpa glared at him. Qin Feiyang grinned, held the empty bowl and said, is there any more millet porridge? I want to eat more. Yes. I specially prepared a big pot for you. Go and get it yourself. Second grandpa smiled. Okay. Qin Feiyang immediately ran to the kitchen excitedly. What's wrong with this boy? He was still unhappy last night. Why did he become a little different when he went out this morning? Second grandpa looked at Qin Feiyang's back suspiciously. All of a sudden, he shook his head and smiled. What was the point of thinking about this? As long as the boy was happy, it was fine. Happy times always pass quickly. A day passed. At night, Qin Feiyang chatted with second grandpa for a long time. And after being enlightened by fourth grandpa, he slept soundly that night. And he also had a good dream. In the dream, his mother also came to the village, and everyone gathered together. When he woke up the next day, He felt unprecedentedly comfortable. Second Grandpa knew that Qin Feiyang was going to leave, so he got up very early and prepared a sumptuous breakfast for Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang also didn't leave anything behind. What was to come would come, and what was to go would go. After helping Second Grandpa clean up the dishes, Qin Feiyang suppressed the reluctance in his heart and said goodbye to him. Second Grandpa didn't say much. He only said 2 sentences. The first sentence was, "Take care." The second sentence was, "Take care of Lu Zhang." Chapter 14:14. To the west of the village, more than 2,000 miles away, there was a dense jungle. However, there was not a single beast in the jungle. It was dead silent. Swoosh! But suddenly, a piercing sound could be heard. A young man in white entered the sky above the jungle. It was Qin Feiyang. And, as soon as he arrived at the sky above the jungle, Qin Feiyang felt that something was wrong. Not only were there no beasts in the jungle, there was not even a flying insect. Moreover, there was a stench in the air. But it was very faint. Qin Feiyang was unable to distinguish what was emitting the smell for a while. He continued to fly forward. The trees here were very thick. There were even some ancient trees that could not be surrounded by more than a dozen people holding hands. The thick vines were like horned dragons, and they were filled with a vigorous aura. But that stench was getting more and more obvious. Qin Feiyang gradually frowned. This stench made him suddenly think of something. Feces. The deeper he went into the jungle, the stronger the stench was. It was simply disgusting. Finally, Qin Feiyang could not help but cover his nose, hold his breath and murmured, "Did I come to the wrong place? But the devil cliff that Second Grandpa said is in this direction." He was a little puzzled. Soon, he went deep into the jungle for dozens of miles. Suddenly, a giant mountain came into sight. The giant mountain was more than 10,000 feet high. It was completely black. There were no plants on it. It was completely bare. And under the giant mountain, there was an ancient and dilapidated stone tablet. There were 3 bold words engraved on the tablet. Devil Cliff. This is Devil Cliff? Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. He raised his head and glanced at the giant mountain. He slowly discovered that the pungent stench actually came from Devil Cliff. Swoosh! When Qin Feiyang approached Devil Cliff, the stench was simply overwhelming. Even the smell was crazily drilling into his pores. What exactly is this thing? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. He slowly approached Devil Cliff. Soon, he discovered that the entire surface of Devil Cliff was covered with a layer of sticky stuff. What is this? Qin Feiyang frowned. However, when he was about to reach the Devil's Cliff, his expression changed. He quickly stopped and retreated. That sticky thing was actually feces. He stood in the distance and looked at the Devil's Cliff, the corners of his mouth twitching. So this was Devil's Cliff. It was no wonder that Lu Zhang and the children in the village changed their expressions when they heard about Devil's Cliff. Only a ghost would want to come to such a place. "Second cousin, where are you? Come out, we're leaving." Qin Feiyang shouted, not daring to get any closer. "Bastard!" Immediately, a furious roar exploded halfway up the Devil Mountain, like rolling thunder, resounding through the sky. Following closely, he then saw Lu Zhang flying through the air in an aggressive manner. When Qin Feiyang saw that the situation was not good, he quickly turned around and fled. "Qin Feiyang, I'm not done with you today." Lu Zhang stared at Qin Feiyang's back, gnashing his teeth. He looked as if he wanted to skin Qin Feiyang alive. "Second cousin, let's talk nicely," Qin Feiyang said. Lu Zhang shouted, "There's nothing to talk about. Unless you go to Devil's Cliff and stay there for 2 days. "I won't do it." Qin Feiyang pursed his lips. If he had known in advance that Devil's Cliff was such a place, he would not have come even if he was beaten to death. Lu Zhang suddenly burned with anger and shouted, "You also know that this is not a place for people to stay. Then why did you cheat me?" "I didn't know." Qin Feiyang smiled apologetically. "Is not knowing a reason? How can there be such a good thing in the world?" Lu Zhang angrily chased after Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang did not fight back. He fled without looking back. On one hand, it was because he was in the wrong. On the other hand, it was because Lu Zhang also had a stench on him. The two of them chased one after the other. After about an hour, a vast sea came into sight. The Lu family was in the reincarnation sea. This was just a very big island. Qin Feiyang looked at the sea and frowned. Although he had not entered the sea, he could already feel the terrifying aura. And these auras were basically from 9-star combat emperors. Could be seen that the sea ahead was definitely not a place where ordinary people could set foot. Whoosh! He slammed on the brakes and stopped in the void. He turned around and looked at Lu Zheng. He said angrily, "Are you done yet?" If his second grandpa had not asked him to bring Lu Zheng along, he would not have bothered to take so long. "I'm not done." Lu Zheng rushed toward Qin Feiyang with monstrous anger. "The morning court in the throne room has already begun. I don't have time to mess around with you now. If you continue to pester me like this, don't blame me for being rude." Qin Feiyang covered his nose and raised his eyebrows. Lu Zheng had stayed on the Devil's Cliff for 2 days. He really smelled like a pile of feces. Seeing Qin Feiyang cover his nose, Lu Zheng was undoubtedly even more annoyed and almost lost his mind. Boom! Qin Feiyang did not waste any more words. His emperor's aura rolled out and directly sent Lu Zheng flying. He said, "When you calm down, come to the Imperial Palace to find me." After that, Qin Feiyang then opened the teleportation gate and rushed in without looking back. "Don't go!" Lu Zheng roared and immediately rushed toward the portal. Boom! But just as he was about to reach the portal, a surge of purple gold dragon chi roared out of the portal like a tide. Lu Zheng was blasted away again. When he stabilized his body and rushed toward the portal again, the portal had already dissipated. "Bastard, I won't let you go," Lu Zheng roared again and again. He was so angry that the sea beasts in the sea ahead were frightened. The Imperial Palace, civil and military officials as well as the marquises, gathered in the throne room. But at this moment the entire throne room was dead silent. The ministers standing in the main hall all lowered their heads and seemed to be deep in thought. Above, the little prince wearing a dragon robe and a dragon crown, sat on the dragon throne. Although he had just succeeded the throne a few days ago, he already had the temperament of an emperor and was much more mature than before. Next to him, the imperial preceptor stood upright with his hands behind his back, glancing at the people below with sharp eyes. However, at this time, the most eye-catching person was a young man in purple. He stood in front of the ministers, his body straight and his eyes straight, exuding a threatening aura. That's right. He was Zhuge Mingyang. The imperial preceptor raised his eyebrows, looked at everyone and shouted, "Why are you all so silent? Zhuge Mingyang is the only son of the Marquis of Zhuge. Is there a problem with him inheriting the position of Marquis?" Civil and military officials, the various marquises, you look at me, I look at you, none of them daring to be the first to stand out and express their stance. Suddenly, Marquis Xiao took a step forward, looked at the imperial preceptor and said, "The Zhuge family has been killed by Qin Feiyang, and only Zhuge Mingyang is left. There is naturally no problem for him to inherit the position of Marquis, but I would like to ask the imperial preceptor, does Emperor Hong agree to this? Such an important matter. How dare this imperial preceptor make his own decision? Of course, with the consent of Emperor Hong," the imperial preceptor said expressionlessly, but there was a hint of killing intent hidden in his old eyes. Marquis Xiao said, "Since Emperor Hong has already agreed, then as subjects we naturally do not dare to have any objections." With that he retreated. "All right. Marquis Xiao has already agreed, what about you?" The imperial preceptor looked at the others. Marquis Xiao raised his eyebrows, extended his hand and said, "Lord Imperial Preceptor, let me correct you. I only said that I have no objections, I did not say that I agree." "Old thing, you're courting death." Zhuge Mingyang raised his eyebrows, turned his head to look at Marquis Xiao, and a trace of killing intent lurked in his eyes. The imperial preceptor also flew into a rage out of humiliation. He stared at Marquis Xiao and said, "What do you mean?" Marquis Xiao glanced at Zhuge Mingyang, then raised his head to look at the imperial preceptor, and said indifferently, "Marquis Wu inheriting the throne is not a child's play. Can't I reserve my opinion?" "Yes, of course." The imperial preceptor nodded and smiled, but his smile was very terrifying. Chapter 14:15. Qin Feiyang. Why is he here? At the same time, there was an uproar in the throne room. All the marquises and ministers looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. Zhuge Mingyang, the state preceptor, and the young prince also looked at Qin Feiyang with hatred in their eyes. The young prince suddenly shouted, "Outsiders are not allowed to enter the throne room during the morning court. Stop him!" The Kirin army guarding the throne room didn't dare to stop Qin Feiyang. But after hearing the young prince's order, they could only brace themselves to stop Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang looked at the little prince. The hatred in his eyes was clearly visible. "Hating me is the right thing to do, because only hatred can make you grow quickly," Qin Feiyang murmured. Looking at the Kirin army in front of him, he lightly said, "Get out of the way. This is His Majesty White Sky's decree. We have to do it. Don't make things difficult for us, okay?" The Kirin army looked at Qin Feiyang pleadingly. Qin Feiyang glanced at them one by one and nodded, "Okay, I won't make things difficult for you." The Kirin army sighed in relief. However, right at the moment when they thought that Qin Feiyang would retreat, Qin Feiyang suddenly waved his hand. A strong wind rose, and they were immediately blown away. "Impudent!" A Kirin army shouted angrily. "Are you stupid? He already showed mercy. Why are you still shouting? If it weren't for the fact that we're commanders, we would have already gone to hell." "Shut up. Anyway, we've already stopped him. It's not disobeying His Majesty White Sky's order. What happens next has nothing to do with us." The other members of the Qilin army immediately shouted at that person. Inside the hall, Qin Feiyang stepped in front of the ministers and stood next to Zhuge Mingyang. He cupped his hands and said, "This commoner Qin Feiyang greets His Majesty White Sky. I don't want to see you. Get out of here at once." The young prince stood up and shouted. Qin Feiyang said indifferently, "After I've finished dealing with the matters here, this commoner will naturally leave without the need for your majesty to say anything. In addition, you are now the ruler of a country, so you must pay attention to your image. Try not to do something like yelling and shouting in the imperial court again." The little prince angrily stared at Qin Feiyang. In the end, he coldly snorted, clenched his two small hands, and returned to the dragon throne. "Qin Feiyang, although you and His Majesty White Sky are brothers, you've already been expelled from the imperial palace. Please leave immediately." Marquis Qianwu's eyes flashed as he stood up and shouted at Qin Feiyang. He would never forget the death of his son. In the past, because he was afraid of Qin Feiyang, he did not dare to say a word. But now, with the imperial tutor, a peak false god, supporting him, he was no longer afraid. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and turned to look at Marquis Qianwu with a playful look in his eyes. "Did I say something wrong? This is the most sacred throne room. How can a commoner like you barge in?" Marquis Qianwu coldly shouted, then looked at the ministers around him and said, "All of you tell me, am I right?" Obviously, he was fanning the flames, but the result disappointed Marquis Qianwu. No one present dared to say a word. Even Marquis An Wu, Marquis Mo Wu, Marquis Gu Wu, and Marquis Qi Wu, who were in the same camp as him, remained silent. Qin Feiyang laughed in ridicule, looked at the ministers and said, "There's something I suddenly forgot. Can any of you remind me, how many times have I destroyed the throne room?" Everyone's heart trembled. From his tone, was he going to destroy the throne room again? If it was anyone else, they would definitely not think so, because no one dared to be impudent in the throne room. But Qin Feiyang was a person who could not be treated with ordinary eyes. Qin Feiyang looked at Marquis Qianwu and sneered, "I even dared to destroy the throne room. Do you think I would be afraid of you fanning the flames here?" Marquis Qianwu's expression froze. The imperial tutor suppressed his anger and said in a deep voice, "Qin Feiyang, what exactly do you want?" Qin Feiyang smiled faintly, looked at the imperial tutor and said, "Last night, the ancestor gave me a dream. Do you know what it was?" The imperial tutor raised his eyebrows. "The ancestor told me two things. The first is about Zhuge Mingyang inheriting the marquis title. The ancestor said that this Zhuge Mingyang has disloyalty to the great Qin, and cannot be allowed to inherit the marquis title." Qin Feiyang chuckled. "Ridiculous. Let's not talk about whether your dream is real or not. Just your words are not credible." The imperial tutor sneered. Of course my words are not credible. However, I wonder if Lord Imperial Tutor still remembers that I told you that I have a recording of your conversation with the Grand Valley Master. Qin Feiyang teased. The Imperial Tutor's pupils constricted as he sent a voice transmission. Don't think that you can threaten me with that recording? Did I threaten you? Qin Feiyang asked back. If that's not a threat, then what is? The Imperial Tutor said angrily. Qin Feiyang laughed. I just want you to understand a principle. As long as I, Qin Feiyang, am here, you can't do whatever you want. The Imperial Tutor clenched his fists. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly, turned to look at the officials and said, Everyone must be thinking, isn't it just a dream? What is there to believe? But I want to tell you that this is a dream from the ancestor. Even if it is not credible, you have to consider it carefully. Ridiculous, this is too ridiculous. Marquis Qianwu roared with righteous indignation. Qin Feiyang changed the topic and said angrily, You even dare to question the ancestor? Blaspheme, are you courting death? Marquis Qianwu's body trembled. This was a serious crime and hurriedly said, I don't dare to blaspheme the previous emperor. But who knows if your dream is real or fake? Only I know about dreams, of course I can't verify whether it is real or fake. But we don't know if Zhuge Mingyang has any disloyalty. Therefore, I suggest that Zhuge Mingyang's succession of the Marquis title be postponed for the time being. I wonder if anyone has any objections? If there is, don't hesitate to say it. After all, I, Qin Feiyang, am a very democratic person. I respect everyone's opinion. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Democracy. Respect. Hearing this, many people snorted in their hearts, but no one dared to show it. Because they didn't want to follow in the footsteps of the Zhuge family. Zhuge Mingyang could no longer hold back the anger in his heart. He stared at Qin Feiyang and roared, Don't go too far. How can such a kind person like me bully you? I'm doing this for the sake of the great Qin. And for your own good. Because everyone is now wondering if you have any ulterior motives. So I have to investigate as soon as possible and prove your innocence. Moreover, if you really don't have any disloyalty, then the Marquis title will be yours sooner or later. What are you afraid of? Qin Feiyang teased. Zhuge Mingyang said angrily, Who said I'm afraid? You're just spouting nonsense. Qin Feiyang laughed. There's a good saying, if you don't do anything wrong, you won't be afraid of ghosts knocking on your door. Since you're not afraid, then cooperate with my investigation. Don't try to twist words. Who do you think you are? Why should I cooperate with you? Zhuge Mingyang was unable to restrain his anger. Seeing that the situation was not good, the state preceptor shouted, Shut up. Zhuge Mingyang was not convinced. He looked at the state preceptor and said angrily, Lord State Preceptor, this is the throne room, you're just going to let him mess around like this? Stupid. Can't you see that Qin Feiyang is setting a trap for you? He wants to provoke you on purpose, make you lose your mind and say those things you shouldn't say, understand? The state preceptor shouted. Hearing this, Zhuge Mingyang's eyes trembled slightly. He looked at Qin Feiyang gloomily and said, I, Zhuge Mingyang, have a clear conscience. You can say whatever you want. Qin Feiyang glanced at the state preceptor. As expected, the older the ginger, the spicier it was. He had seen through his scheme so quickly and woke up Zhuge Mingyang. Qin Feiyang looked at the civil and military officials and said impatiently, All of you say something. I propose to postpone Zhuge Mingyang's succession as the Martial Marquis. Do you have any objections? Marquis Xiao's eyes flashed and said, This Marquis agrees to postpone it. Heard of it? The state preceptor and Zhuge Mingyang immediately looked at Marquis Xiao. The killing intent in their hearts unprecedentedly strong. Marquis Qianwu raised his eyebrows and said angrily, Marquis Xiao, what do you mean? Could it be that you have already been bribed by Qin Feiyang? Impudent. Is this something a marquis dares to say? Marquis Xiao glared at Marquis Qianwu. Marquis Qianwu said indifferently, This marquis is only voicing the doubts in my heart. What a joke. Before Qin Feiyang appeared, this marquis had already said that Zhuge Mingyang had ulterior motives, so this marquis only agreed with his own point of view, and has nothing to do with Qin Feiyang. If you continue to spread rumors that this marquis is colluding with Qin Feiyang, then this marquis has reason to suspect that you are the same as Zhuge Mingyang, and also have ulterior motives towards the great Qin. Marquis Xiao said. You. Marquis Qianwu was so angry that he was actually bitten back. Alright, the two of you stop arguing. Since everyone can't agree on this matter, then let's discuss it later. Let me first talk about the second dream that the ancestor gave me. Qin Feiyang said. Everyone couldn't help but frown. What kind of trick was this kid playing now? Especially the state preceptor at this moment. There was an indescribable sense of irritation in his heart. Qin Feiyang laughed. This second dream is related to some martial marquis. The various martial marquis immediately became nervous. The ancestor told me that recently, there have been some martial marquis who have been very dishonest. They are clearly taking our great Qin's salary, but they colluded with some old bastard and colluded with him. Qin Feiyang swept his gaze across the group of martial marquis with a playful expression. The group of martial marquis, other than Marquis Xiao, were all somewhat flustered, because they all knew who the old bastard Qin Feiyang was talking about was. And during this period of time they had more or less interacted with the state preceptor. Of course, the ones who were the most flustered were Marquis Qianwu and the other four, because they had already sided with the state preceptor. Marquis Xiao glanced at the state preceptor, and a cold smile flashed across his eyes. Looking at Qin Feiyang, he pretended to be confused and said, Qin Feiyang, can you speak more clearly? We don't understand. Alright, I'll make it clearer. As a martial marquis of the Great Qin Empire, who should you be loyal to? Naturally, you should be loyal to the Great Qin and His Majesty the White Sky. But some people have made the wrong choice and pledged their loyalty to an old bastard. Marquis Qianwu, Marquis Anwu, Marquis Mo, Marquis Chiwu, Marquis Gouwu. The five of you are the most senior marquis in my Great Qin. Why don't you answer me? How should I deal with such a marquis? Chapter 14:16. Marquis Qianwu and the other four who were called out immediately panicked. What are you panicking for? Could it be that the ancestor's dream is true, and those dishonest martial marquis are you? Qin Feiyang looked at the five of them suspiciously. Don't spout nonsense. Our loyalty to Great Qin, to His Majesty White Sky, is witnessed by the heavens and earth. The five of them glared at Qin Feiyang angrily and said. Qin Feiyang said impatiently, then tell me, how should we deal with those martial marquis who are not loyal to Great Qin and His Majesty White Sky? Marquis Qianwu said, if there really is such a person, he should immediately be stripped of his position as a martial marquis. Wrong. Qin Feiyang shook his head. What's wrong? Marquis Qianwu frowned. Towards these disloyal and unjust martial marquis, only by killing them without mercy will we be able to uphold the imperial court and enforce the law. Qin Feiyang said word by word, killing intent surging in his eyes. Before he could finish, Thunder Leopard, Seahorse, Seal, Wang Yongfeng, and Wang Yishan appeared out of thin air. Impudent. The imperial tutor had always been paying attention to Qin Feiyang, because he knew that Qin Feiyang would definitely cause a ruckus today, so when he saw Thunder Leopard, the other two beasts and Wang Yishan appear, he realized that something was wrong and immediately attacked Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang ignored him, pointed at Marquis Qianwu and the other four, and shouted, kill them all. Old thing, this emperor has long disliked you, die. Lei Bao looked at Marquis Qianwu and laughed, then turned into a bolt of lightning and flew over like lightning. Seahorse, Wang Yishan, and Wang Yongfeng also immediately charged towards Marquis Anwu and the other three. Seeing this situation, the other marquis, ministers, and Zhuge Mingyang all ran outside as if they were running for their lives. Marquis Qianwu and the other four also wanted to escape, but would Thunder Leopard, the other two beasts, and Wang Yongfeng give them a chance? Obviously not. Lord Imperial Tutor, save us. The five of them desperately called for help from the Imperial Tutor. The state preceptor rushed towards Qin Feiyang and roared, tell them to stop, or don't blame me for being merciless. Whoosh! But suddenly, an old figure appeared in front of the Imperial Tutor without any warning. It was Old Man Qin. As soon as Old Man Qin appeared, he struck out with his palm. The Imperial Preceptor was caught off guard. Even though his cultivation was higher than Old Man Qin's, he still suffered a great loss. His entire body was sent flying and crashed into the wall beside the dragon throne. With a loud bang, a large hole was instantly created in the wall. Ah! Meanwhile, under the thunderous attacks of the Thunder Leopard, and Wang Yongfeng, Marquis Qinwu's group of 5 died on the spot without any suspense. It's Qin Feiyang. What is he doing? Did he kidnap Emperor Hao Tian? Heavens, what is he trying to do? No matter what, Emperor Hao Tian is still his younger brother. How can he be so heartless? Looking at the little prince in Qin Feiyang's hand, everyone immediately roared with righteous indignation. It's the young lord. He really has broken through to the 4-star combat emperor realm. Damn it, this speed is too heaven-defying. At the same time, among the crowd, there were 8 young men and women. It was Wang Zicheng and the others. At this moment, they looked at Qin Feiyang from afar with disbelief. After the 2 continents were connected, there were now many people from the Forgotten Continent in the Imperial City. Of course, in the Central Divine Kingdom's Divine City, there were also many people from Great Qin. It's really Qin Feiyang. This bastard is indeed a star of calamity. Wherever he goes, he brings disaster. However, I'm afraid he won't be able to escape this time. Is there even a need to say that? The Mu family, the main pagoda, Great Qin, and the mysterious madam are all looking for him. When they receive the news and rush over, even if this bastard has heaven-defying abilities, only death awaits him. Everyone was discussing. No matter if it was Great Qin's people or Forgotten Continent's people, they all had a gloating attitude. However, Qin Feiyang did not have the time to care about all of this. He looked nervously at the imperial palace below. Boom! Suddenly, Old Man Qin flew out of the throne room like a meteor and smashed into a large hall several li away. Following a loud explosion, a huge crater appeared in the ground. The surrounding palaces also collapsed one after another. Countless palace maids and eunuchs were affected. Qin Feiyang's heart sank. He did not expect old Qin to be injured so easily by the imperial tutor. The gap between the peak of the semi-divinity realm and the semi-divinity realm was too big. Qin Feiyang, you son of a bitch, I'll definitely kill you today. Following a furious roar, the imperial tutor rushed into the sky with a monstrous aura. Boom! The shattered imperial palace also completely collapsed, turning into ruins. The throne room was once again destroyed because of Qin Feiyang. Can't that bastard stop for a bit? Isn't that right? It was fine in the past because there were no people from the Forgotten Continent. However, with so many outsiders watching, isn't he embarrassing Great Qin? Don't wash your dirty linen in public. He's really embarrassing us. Everyone was indignant, and their expressions were filled with disgust for Qin Feiyang. However, why did Qin Feiyang do this? Wasn't it to protect Great Qin and them? They did not know anything, so what right did they have to criticize Qin Feiyang? I didn't expect young master's situation to be so bad in Great Qin. Yeah, it's worse than when he was on the Forgotten Continent. It's really hard on him. Chapter 14:17. Could be said. Qin Feiyang did not hold back when he said those words. In front of so many people, being ridiculed like this in front of everyone, Emperor Hong also had a face full of shame, unable to show his face. What is it? Nothing to say? Qin Feiyang sneered. Emperor Hong said, "This old man doesn't care what you say, as long as you can let Haotian go. You care about him that much?" Qin Feiyang was startled, then grinned and said, "Then do you know that what I like to do the most is to destroy the things that others care about the most? You dare?" Emperor Hong immediately glared at him. "Do you think I don't dare?" Qin Feiyang chuckled, playing with the dagger that the little prince had used to attack him. The sharp blade gleamed with a cold light. Emperor Hong's body and mind tightened, and he hurriedly said, "Don't hurt him, this old man. I beg you." Ugh! Qin Feiyang was stunned and said, "What did you say? Say it again, I didn't hear it clearly just now." Emperor Hong stared at Qin Feiyang, clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. "This old man begs you." Ha! Qin Feiyang laughed out loud. He actually put down his pride to beg him? If it was in private, with only the two of them, it would be fine. But now there were a lot of people looking at them. Wasn't this old fellow afraid that he would become the laughingstock of everyone in the future? "I beg you." Emperor Hong opened his mouth again, his eyes bloodshot. As the son of the Qin emperor, and also the second-generation emperor who ruled the Great Qin, he was also Qin Feiyang's great-grandfather. But now he was so humble in front of Qin Feiyang. It could be imagined that he did not feel good in his heart. But at this moment, he had no choice but to endure it. Originally, I was quite angry, but looking at your funny face I feel much better. All right, seeing that you are so sincere, I will return the little prince to you. But I have a condition, Qin Feiyang said. Speak, Emperor Hong said. Before entering the divine sight, you and the imperial advisor are not allowed to do anything to me or the people around me. As Qin Feiyang spoke, he pointed to old man Qin in the distance and added, including him, Lord Emperor Hong, you can't agree to it. The imperial preceptor's expression changed as he hurriedly said, if you don't agree to his conditions, do you have any other way to save Haoyan from him? Emperor Hong was inwardly vexed. Looking at Qin Feiyang, he nodded and said, this old man promises you, don't go back on your word. Qin Feiyang said. Emperor Hong said in a deep voice, with so many people watching and listening, this old man can't afford to lose this face. That's true. Qin Feiyang nodded. He lowered his head to look at the little prince, and said, grow up quickly, because with your current ability, you can't even get close to me, let alone avenge your mother. One day I will personally send you to hell. The little prince enunciated each word clearly. Your courage is commendable, but it depends on whether or not you have the strength. Qin Feiyang laughed disdainfully, then picked up the little prince and threw him to Emperor Hong. Emperor Hong hurriedly extended his hands and caught the little prince. He asked with concern, are you all right, child? I'm fine. The little prince shook his head. It's good that you're fine. Emperor Hong heaved a sigh of relief. With a light wave of his hand, the little prince landed safely on the ground. A group of Kirin army immediately surrounded him and carefully protected him. The imperial preceptor looked at Emperor Hong and said, my lord, you have to think twice. Not only did he kidnap the little prince, he also killed 5 martial marquis in the imperial court. Kidnap? Qin Feiyang laughed coldly, looked at the imperial preceptor and said, if I hadn't saved him, he would have been smashed to death by the beam. I would like to ask, what were you doing at that time? Have you ever worried about his safety? That was also caused by you. If you didn't have people kill Qianwu Marquis and the others, would imperial preceptor be so angry? To the point of losing his mind? The imperial preceptor coldly snorted. Qin Feiyang said, so to say, saving him is still my fault? The imperial preceptor laughed sinisterly. It was your fault to begin with? Emperor Hong asked. Which martial marquis did he kill? The imperial preceptor looked at Emperor Hong and said truthfully, Qianwu Marquis and Wu Marquis, Mo Wu Marquis, Gu Wu Marquis, Qi Wu Marquis. All the civil and military officials can testify. How preposterous! Emperor Hong was furious. With a wave of his hand, a vast and mighty pressure surged out and enveloped Qin Feiyang in an instant. Old man Qin's expression changed as he roared, Emperor Hong, you are the son of the previous emperor. Just now you personally agreed to Qin Feiyang's conditions. I hope you can take care of your face and be a man of your word. You've already made this old man lose all his face. Would this old man still care? Moreover, this boy held the Son of Heaven hostage, killed loyal people, and committed all kinds of evil. If this old man continues to ignore it, how will the world talk about this old man behind his back? They will definitely say that this old man cares about family ties, bends the law for personal gain, and covers up and connives at Qin Feiyang. This crime is even greater. This old man doesn't want to be a sinner for all eternity. Therefore, this old man will place righteousness before family today and get rid of this malignant tumor, returning peace to great Qin. Emperor Hong said, his words righteous and awe-inspiring. Well said. The imperial preceptor praised. That's right. This kind of evil person should be eliminated as soon as possible. Lord Emperor Hong, we all support you. The entire Great Qin's people also support you. Some martial marquis also roared, filled with righteous indignation. Emperor Hong looked at them one by one, his old face full of gratification. Following that, he looked at old man Qin and shouted, did you see that? Qin Feiyang's actions these few years have long aroused public indignation. If this old man doesn't kill him today, how will I account to the world? Old man Qin lamented, Lord Emperor Hong, the older you get, the more muddle-headed you become. Preposterous, you still dare to humiliate this old man. You colluded with Qin Feiyang, plotted to usurp the throne. Your crime is also unforgivable. Imperial Preceptor, immediately arrest him. If he dares to resist, execute him on the spot. Emperor Hong roared. Yes. The Imperial Preceptor responded respectfully, turned to look at Old Man Qin, and said with a cold smile, Old man, today is your doomsday. Boom. Finished speaking. Divine might surged out, charging towards Old Man Qin. Haha, my dignified great Qin actually doesn't have a reasonable person. Letting wolves rule the road, how lamentable. Great Qin is not far from destruction. Old Man Qin raised his head and laughed wildly, incomparably sorrowful. Deceiving the public with lies, damn it. A strong killing intent flashed in the Imperial Preceptor's eyes. Bastard, this old man won't let you continue to be so insolent. Today, even if my body is smashed to pieces, this old man will drag you down to hell together. Old Man Qin smiled sinisterly, his divine might erupting with a bang, carrying a sense of determination as he faced the Imperial Preceptor. Old Man Qin, what are you going to do? Qin Feiyang said in shock and anger. Don't worry about me, if there's a chance, run away. But you have to promise me, after you become strong, you must pacify the chaos of Great Qin and protect the rivers and mountains left behind by the previous emperor. If someone dares to stir up trouble, even if it's a relative whose blood is thicker than water, please don't show mercy. Old Man Qin roared. This sentence was already very obvious. This family whose blood was thicker than water was undoubtedly referring to Emperor Hong, and the emperor these people. Old Man Qin was a person who valued friendship and righteousness. To be able to make him harden his heart to say these words, it could be seen how disappointed he was with Emperor Hong at this moment. I will. Qin Feiyang said silently, then looked at Emperor Hong and said, Cancer? Righteousness over family? You're really good. Cut the crap, this old man will send you on your way now. Emperor Hong shouted coldly, took a step forward, and mercilessly slapped towards Qin Feiyang's head. On the other side, State Preceptor and Old Man Qin also collided. Old bastard, die with this old man. Old Man Qin laughed sinisterly, a destructive aura rushed out of his body, and the void immediately shattered crazily. This, State Preceptor's body stiffened, and he immediately turned around to flee roaring, Emperor Hong, he's going to self-destruct, run. What? Self-destruct? Emperor Hong's body and mind trembled. How could he have thought that Old Man Qin would actually do such a crazy thing? False god self-destruct. Even if he was a supreme existence of the peak false god realm, it would be difficult to escape death. This was not the main point. The main point was that once Old Man Qin self-destructed, the entire imperial palace and imperial city would instantly be reduced to ashes. No one here would be spared, and they would all die. Old Man Qin, I'm sorry I caused your death. If I didn't have to save the little prince, how could you fall to such a state? Qin Feiyang closed his eyes in pain, 2 drops of tears silently falling from the corner of his eyes. False god is going to self-destruct, everyone run. At the same time, whether it was the imperial palace, the temple, or the major cities, they were all in a panic at this moment. Everyone scrambled to open the teleportation gate and escape. False god self-destruct? Damn it, this is a bit too much. Wang Zicheng's group of 8 also fled at the sight of the wind. Never would they have thought that the situation would become so serious. Humph! However, at this moment, above the imperial palace, a cold snort suddenly sounded. As the people fled, they hurriedly glanced around and found that it was a mysterious man in white. His figure was tall and imposing, and his entire body exuded an astonishing aura. It was not difficult to determine that he should be a young man. However, he wore a white mask on his face, covering his true appearance. No one knew who he was. However, sensing this person's aura, Qin Feiyang immediately became spirited, and transmitted, Old Man Qin, there is a turning point. Don't self-destruct. However, Old Man Qin turned a deaf ear. Qin Feiyang anxiously shouted, if you self-destruct now, you may not be able to kill the imperial advisor. Don't die in vain, you are a loyal person of my great Qin. I don't want you to die, and I don't want you to lose your life for a damn old bastard. It's not worth it. Old Man Qin's body trembled slightly, and suddenly woke up. He quickly stopped self-destructing, and that destructive aura also retreated like a tide. And stop self-destructing. Everyone was surprised. The Imperial advisor also stopped and looked at Old Man Qin suspiciously. Emperor Hung's brows also tightened. But the next moment, everyone raised their heads in unison and looked at the masked man in white. As soon as this person appeared, Old Man Qin stopped self-destructing. It was enough to see that this person was definitely related to Qin Feiyong, and might even be the reinforcements that Qin Feiyong had found. It's really a false alarm. Chapter 14:18. The white-clothed man stood proudly in the air, his body as straight as an iron pine, his thick black hair fluttering in the wind, his clothes fluttering. He was like a god descending to the world, his eyes filled with a hint of arrogance that looked down on all living things. Swish! Under everyone's gazes, he took a step forward and landed beside Qin Feiyong. Looking at the Imperial tutor opposite him, Qin Feiyong sent a sound transmission. "Big cousin, aren't you consolidating your realm? Why are you here?" That's right. This person was the Lu family's monstrous genius Lu Jijin. Although Lu Jijin was wearing a mask, his voice did not change at all. Therefore, Qin Feiyong recognized him at once. "Not long after you left, Second Grandpa sent me a message, saying that you would definitely cause a ruckus in the Imperial Palace. He was afraid that something would happen to you, so he asked me to come and help you. Fortunately, I came in time, otherwise my great Qin would have lost a loyal person." Lu Jijin thought. Qin Feiyong smiled bitterly and sighed. Second Grandpa really knows things like a god. Lu Jijin smiled, looked at the Imperial tutor and said coldly, "I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Immediately withdraw your pressure, or else I will flatten your Imperial city." This was a completely commanding tone. "Impudent." Emperor Hong was furious. Lu Jijin said arrogantly, "So what if I am impudent? I have the capital to be impudent, because as long as I am willing, I can destroy your great Qin Empire in an instant." Domineering. Everyone's hearts trembled. Who was this, to actually dare to show such an arrogant side in front of Emperor Hong? Emperor Hong's face was as gloomy as water. So lively. Suddenly, another mocking voice sounded. Two figures flew out from the space-time gate, flying above the Imperial Palace like lightning. Lu Xingchen, Mu Chongyun. Emperor Hong's gaze turned, looking at the two gloomily. "This is not good." The Imperial tutor muttered, ignoring old Qin, quickly rushed to Emperor Hong's side, looking at Lu Xingchen and Mu Chongyun vigilantly. Seeing this, Old Man Qin quickly flew to Qin Feiyong's side. Lu Xingchen chuckled and said, "I just received news that someone is bullying Qin Feiyong, so I came to see who has the guts to bully this Lu Xingchen's brother." Lu Xingchen and Qin Feiyong have such a good relationship? Have they already reached the stage where they call each other brothers? Everyone was shocked. First, there was an arrogant and mysterious man. Now there was Lu Xingchen leading reinforcements. Qin Feiyong's backer was not simple at all. Emperor Hong said in a solemn voice, "This is my great Qin's family matters. You all don't have the qualifications to interfere. You hurt my brother and I can't intervene? Do you think you're the god of creation?" Lu Xingchen laughed disdainfully. He glanced at Lu Jijin curiously, then looked at Emperor Hong and said, "Didn't you hear what this brother said just now? Immediately put away your tortoise's might, or I'll get angry. If I get angry, your great Qin will really be finished." Emperor Hong glanced at Lu Jijin and Lu Xingchen, his expression uncertain. Lu Xingchen raised his eyebrows and said, "Looks like you have to force me to make a move. Chongyun, immediately go and call your big brother out of seclusion." "Yes," Mu Chongyun responded respectfully. He smiled coldly at Emperor Hong and turned to rush towards the spatial gate. Mu Chongyun's big brother was naturally Mu Chongfeng. The two brothers were both supreme existences at the peak of the false god realm. "Damn it!" Emperor Hong clenched his fists and quickly withdrew his pressure. Lu Xingchen laughed mockingly and said indifferently, "Come back. He's still tactful. There's no need to alarm your big brother." Hearing this, Mu Chongyun turned in the air and landed beside Lu Xingchen. Emperor Hong swept his gaze across the group of people and said gloomily, "Can you all scram now? We don't dare to leave now. You're too despicable." What if you attack Brother Qin again after we leave? Don't make any promises to us. We won't believe you. Because of what happened before, the people below have already told me. You clearly agreed to Qin Feiyang's conditions, but in the end, you went back on your word. You even said that you would place righteousness above family. Such a hypocritical thing, only a shameless old thing like you can do it. So, your credibility with us is already zero. Lu Xingchen mocked. Then what do you want? Emperor Hong said angrily. Lu Xingchen laughed and said, that depends on Brother Qin. He can do whatever he wants. Emperor Hong looked at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with a cold light and said, you didn't expect that the situation would change so quickly, right? Emperor Hong clenched his fingers tightly, making cracking sounds. Humph! How can such a lively scene be missing from my main pagoda? This time, another hoarse cold snort sounded in the sky. Main pagoda! Everyone was shocked and hurriedly looked over. They saw an old man rushing out of the space-time gate, his aura incomparably powerful. He seems to be called Wang Su, a senior figure of the main pagoda, with an important position. But what is he doing here? Everyone was suspicious. I didn't expect that a mere Qin Feiyang could actually cause such a huge commotion in the Great Qin Empire. Is the Great Qin Empire without the Qin Emperor so weak? After Wang Su appeared, another voice came from the spatial gate. This time there was a hint of mockery in this voice. This was a woman's voice. The next moment, a woman in white flew out of the space-time gate and entered everyone's line of sight. Who is she? I've never seen her before. The people of Great Qin were shocked. However, the people of Forgotten Continent said, you haven't seen her before, but you must have heard of her name. What name? The people of Great Qin were bewildered. Mysterious Madam. The people of Forgotten Continent said, what? She is the Mysterious Madam? What is she doing here again? Could it be that she's here to settle the score with Qin Feiyang? Wait, the main pagoda and Qin Feiyang also have a deep grudge. Could it be that she's also taking the opportunity to kill Qin Feiyang? Everyone whispered to each other, discussing animatedly. High up in the sky, Wang Su looked at the Mysterious Madam, a cold light flashing in his eyes. The Mysterious Madam said, you'd better not look at me like that again, or else I'll dig out your eyeballs and feed them to the dogs. So arrogant. Even the senior figures of the main pagoda are not in their eyes. They are indeed as lawless as the rumors say. People muttered. Humph! Wang Su snorted through his nose, turned around and swooped down, flying towards the place where Qin Feiyang and the others were. The Mysterious Madam smiled contemptuously and flew down as well. Not good. Last time in the Endless Sea, young master set a trap for the main pagoda and the Mysterious Madam and stole the God Crystal. They definitely won't let this go. Wang Ziqing frowned. That's right. And I also received news that the main pagoda master and the imperial tutor are colluding to kill young master together. The black monkey said in a deep voice. Sigh. Indeed, before the first wave has subsided, another wave has risen. Young master's situation will probably be even more dangerous than before. The 8 of them were all worried. They really wanted to help. But facing the main pagoda, the Mysterious Madam, and a colossus like Great Qin, they wanted to help but were powerless. At the same time, seeing the Mysterious Madam and Wang Su appear one after another, Qin Feiyang's heart sank. Let's not talk about Wang Su first. Let's talk about the Mysterious Madam. He understood this woman quite well. She was a person who would not take revenge. The most important thing was, behind this woman, in addition to the teacher of the Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House, there was also a peak false god that even Mu Chongyun was afraid of. Swish! Wang Su and the Mysterious Madam descended one after another. The Mysterious Madam immediately looked at Qin Feiyang, the anger in her eyes undisguised. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but panic in his heart, and said, Big cousin, this woman is not a good person, let's retreat. Lu Jijin nodded. But the Mysterious Madam knew Qin Feiyang too well, and instantly saw through Qin Feiyang's plan, and said coldly, Boy, if you dare to move, I will slaughter the people of Great Qin. Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. He never doubted what the Mysterious Madam said. The imperial tutor looked at Qin Feiyang coldly and said, Emperor Hong, the situation has reversed, And it's on our side. What do you mean? Emperor Hong was surprised. The main tower and that woman have a deep hatred with Qin Feiyang. And they also have a grudge with the Mu family. So I concluded that they must have come to help us this time, the imperial tutor secretly said. That's really good news. Emperor Hong was overjoyed, looking at the mysterious madam and Wang Su. He cupped his hands and said with a smile, "This old man is the son of the Qin Emperor Qin Hong." The mysterious madam glanced at Emperor Hong and said, "Since you are the son of the Qin Emperor, you are also Qin Feiyang's elder. But why did you make such a fuss? It's a long story. These years, he has done evil things in the great Qin. But this old man couldn't bear to do anything to him. But he turned this old man's patience into capital. This time it's even more excessive. Not only did he kidnap the emperor, but he also killed 5 of my great Qin's marquis, causing the anger of both men and gods. This old man couldn't help it, so he hardened his heart and planned to put justice before family. But who would have thought that he actually had so many henchmen? The existence of this child is really a shame of my great Qin." Emperor Hong sighed. This Qin Feiyang really deserves to die. The mysterious madam nodded, killing intent flashing in her eyes. Seeing this, Emperor Hong and the imperial tutor were relieved. Wang Su and the mysterious madam were here to kill Qin Feiyang. But at the same time, hearing Emperor Hong's words, old man Qin was unable to restrain his anger and roared, "Emperor Hong, please touch your conscience when you speak. The one who should touch your conscience and repent is you. You are the pillar of my great Qin, but you are in cahoots with Qin Feiyang. Are you worthy of our trust in you?" Emperor Hong rebuked angrily. Old man Qin was mad with hatred. Qin Feiyang reached out to hold old man Qin down, and comforted him. "Don't talk nonsense with him, it's useless." The imperial tutor sneered. "Qin Feiyang, you didn't expect that the situation would change so quickly." Qin Feiyang glanced at the imperial tutor, looked at the mysterious madam and Wang Su and said, "I will find a time to settle the grudges between you and me in the future. But for now, please don't interfere in the matters here." "Who do you think you are? If you tell me not to interfere, I won't interfere?" The mysterious madam sneered. Wang Su did not speak, but his old face was filled with killing intent. Qin Feiyang's face was gloomy. The atmosphere at the scene gradually became solemn. Emperor Hong glanced at the 3 of them, his eyes flashing slightly, and said to the imperial tutor, "How is the strength behind Wang Su and the mysterious madam?" "Very strong. According to my inquiries, there are 3 false gods in the main tower, and the mysterious madam herself is a false god. And there is a peak false god behind her," the imperial tutor said. Emperor Hong thought, "Then with us we can definitely fight with Qin Feiyang and the others? Yes. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And if we kill Qin Feiyang now, we can also snatch the 3 kinds of pill fire from him," the imperial tutor thought, his killing intent rising. Chapter 1419. Emperor Hong's heart skipped a beat. If he could snatch all 3 types of pill fire from Qin Feiyang's body, then this time Great Qin would have 3,000 people enter the miracle. Thinking of this, Emperor Hong's eyes flashed with killing intent as he shouted, "Do it!" The imperial preceptor had been waiting impatiently for a long time. Hearing Emperor Hong's words, he immediately attacked towards Qin Feiyang. "Really stubborn." Lu Xingchen smiled coldly and waved his hand. Mu Chongyun, who was standing behind him, immediately rushed out and slammed his palm towards the imperial preceptor. Boom! The 2 of them each retreated a few feet, and then took a step into the sky. Without saying a word, they began to fight at the top of the clouds. Emperor Hong looked at Wang Su and the mysterious madam, cupped his hands and said, "The 2 of you, since we are already allies, then I ask the 2 of you to quickly return and invite the experts around you to kill these black sheep." Finished. Emperor Hong waved his hand, and the power of the false god rolled out, carrying a world-destroying aura as it pounced towards Qin Feiyang's group. Lu Jijin's eyes flashed with a sharp light as he shouted, "Old Qin, accept the challenge." Old Qin nodded. Boom! The 2 of them attacked at the same time. 2 waves of false god power emerged, like 2 huge waves, sweeping through the sky and colliding with Emperor Hong's false god power. Puff! Old Qin and Lu Jijin immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, staggered and kept retreating. Qin Feiyang's heart sank. Lu Jijin had just broken through to the false god realm, so he was definitely not Emperor Hong's opponent. As for old Qin, although he was a veteran false god compared to Emperor Hong, who was at the peak of the false god realm, he was still far from it. Qin Feiyang looked at Lu Xingchen and said, "It seems that you have to go back and call Mu Changfeng to help." Lu Xingchen glanced at Emperor Hong, then looked up at Mu Changyun and the Imperial Preceptor who were fighting at the top of the clouds. He waved his hand and smiled, "No need." And Qin Feiyang was bewildered. Lu Xingchen said, "Actually, Mu Changfeng has always been by my side. Just now, when I told Mu Changyun to go back and call him, it was purely to tease the Imperial Advisor and Emperor Hong." Qin Feiyang was stunned. Had he always been by Lu Xingchen's side? Why didn't he see Mu Changfeng? But very soon, Qin Feiyang was suddenly enlightened. Mu Changfeng should be in Lu Xingchen's spatial divine item. Emperor Hong repelled Old Man Qin and Lu Jijin with one move, and his confidence immediately soared. Looking at Qin Feiyang and Lu Xingchen, he said proudly, "As long as I don't give you the chance to call Mu Changfeng over, with this old man's and Imperial Preceptor's abilities, it's enough to kill all of you." "Really?" Lu Xingchen smiled playfully. Before he finished speaking, an old man appeared in front of Lu Xingchen out of thin air. Who else could it be but Mu Changfeng? "Sure enough, he's inside the spatial divine item," Qin Feiyang muttered. "How is this possible?" Emperor Hong's face was filled with disbelief. Lu Xingchen sneered. "I, Lu Xingchen, have never done anything that I am not sure of. Since I will bring Mu Changyun here, I will naturally bring Mu Changfeng along as well." Emperor Hong said in shock and anger. "Then before, why did you let Mu Changyun go back? I was just teasing you. Did you really take it seriously?" Lu Xingchen laughed mockingly, looked at Mu Changfeng and said indifferently, "You know what to do." Mu Changfeng nodded, looked at Emperor Hong and said, "A father's debt is repaid by a son. Today, you will pay for the sins your father committed." Boom! After he finished speaking, a monstrous killing intent shot out from Mu Changfeng's eyes. "Damn it!" Emperor Hong cursed, raised his head to look at Wang Su and the mysterious lady, and roared, "What are you still standing there for? Go back and call for help." However, whether it was Wang Su or the mysterious lady, they were both indifferent, as if they didn't hear anything. What's going on? Emperor Hong was bewildered. Qin Feiyang also looked at the two of them suspiciously. The mysterious lady glanced at Qin Feiyang, looked down at Emperor Hong condescendingly, and said indifferently, "Who said I would make a move?" Emperor Hong was taken aback and said, "Don't you have a grudge with Qin Feiyang?" The mysterious lady said contemptuously, "I do have a grudge with Qin Feiyang, but I didn't say that I would help you kill him. It's you who thinks you're smart, who thinks that I'm your ally." This for a moment. Emperor Hong's mind was in a mess. At the same time, when the Imperial Advisor heard the mysterious lady's words, his face also changed. How could this be? An uneasy premonition arose in his heart. He hurriedly pushed Mu Changyun away with his palm and landed beside the Imperial Advisor. He looked at the mysterious lady and said, "You're not here to kill Qin Feiyang. Then what are you here for?" "Me?" The corner of the mysterious lady's mouth lifted, and said, "I'm here to protect him." "What?" Emperor Hong and the Imperial Advisor were dumbstruck. In the distance, Wang Zicheng and the rest also looked at each other. Qin Feiyang himself also had a look of astonishment. Lu Xingchen, Mu Changyun, Mu Changfeng, and Wang Su also had faces full of astonishment. Clearly, they did not expect that this woman was actually here to protect Qin Feiyang. Especially Wang Su and Lu Xingchen, three people, because they all knew that Qin Feiyang had snatched the divine crystal from the mysterious lady's hands in the endless sea. Logically speaking, with the mysterious lady's personality, she would definitely find Qin Feiyang to settle the score. But now she actually wanted to protect Qin Feiyang instead? What was this woman thinking? After the Imperial Advisor came back to his senses, he looked at the mysterious lady and said, "Didn't you say before that Qin Feiyang really deserved to die? Why do you still want to protect him?" Deserves to die is one thing and protecting him is another. In short, with me here today, no one can even think of hurting a single hair on his head. The mysterious lady said domineeringly. Everyone's heart trembled. This tone, this attitude, was enough to show that she was determined to protect Qin Feiyang. What kind of trick are you playing this time? But Qin Feiyang had an indescribable irritation in his heart. If it were someone else, he might not think too much. But this woman, he knew too well that she would never do anything that would not benefit her. But why? No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't figure it out. What about you? The imperial advisor looked at Wang Su again. Wang Su glanced at the mysterious lady, looked at the imperial advisor and Emperor Hong, and said, "This old man is also under the orders of the chief tower master to protect Qin Feiyang." What? This time? Everyone was completely dumbfounded. The mysterious lady came to protect Qin Feiyang, which was understandable. After all, in the Forgotten Continent, the mysterious lady had repeatedly helped Qin Feiyang. But why did the chief tower also want to protect Qin Feiyang? What was going on here? Why did all the super forces suddenly stand together with Qin Feiyang? In the distant void, Wang Zicheng and the others were also dumbfounded. The big barbarian bull muttered, "Do you think that the young master paid a huge price to buy them off? Doesn't look like it. If the young master really bought them off, then he wouldn't have been so nervous just now." Wang Zicheng shook his head. Then what's going on? The chief tower master is such a hypocrite. How could he let go of his grudges to help the young master? Did the sun rise from the west? The 8 of them were puzzled. Not only them but the others also couldn't figure it out. However, everyone knew that the situation had completely tilted towards Qin Feiyang. The chief tower, the mysterious lady, the Mu family, and the mysterious masked man, the 4 forces had joined forces to protect Qin Feiyang. Who? Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and temporarily put down the doubts in his heart. Looking at the imperial tutor and Emperor Hong, he smiled and said, "This situation is really changing rapidly. So quickly it's leaning towards me again. Don't you think it's funny?" The two's faces were gloomy to the extreme. They couldn't understand what kind of charm this Qin Feiyang had. It actually made the Mu family, the chief tower, and the mysterious lady would rather let go of their hatred to help him? Brother Qin, you're wrong. The situation has always been on our side. Just now it was just their wishful thinking, a play of their own foolishness. Lu Xingchen chuckled. Cut the crap. The mysterious lady glared at Qin Feiyang and Lu Xingchen, and said coldly, "Qin Feiyang, just say it. What do you want to do next?" Lu Jijin said, "Why don't we join forces to kill the imperial tutor, Emperor Hong, and the little prince, and push you to the throne of Great Qin?" "That's a good idea." I raised both hands in agreement. Lu Xingchen said with a smile. Hearing their conversation, the imperial tutor and Emperor Hong couldn't help but feel panic in their hearts. Now, several super forces were standing behind Qin Feiyang. If Qin Feiyang really had this idea, then no one would be able to stop him today. Qin Feiyang looked at Emperor Hong in silence. The imperial tutor's heart stirred, and he sent a sound transmission. "Lord Emperor Hong, looking at Qin Feiyang's eyes, it seems like he still has some feelings for you. Why don't you use this to get him out of the Great Qin Empire?" Emperor Hong frowned. The imperial tutor continued to instigate. "Now, this is the only way to resolve this calamity. I've lived for so many years, but this old man has never been in such a sorry state before. I really deserve to die." Killing intent flickered in Emperor Hong's eyes as he looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "If you still think of me as your great-grandfather, immediately take these lackeys of yours and scram out of the Great Qin Empire. Never come back." "This again. Do you really think that you're very important in my heart?" Qin Feiyang was so angry that he laughed. Emperor Hong also flew into a rage out of humiliation. "When I looked at you just now, I was just sympathizing with you because you're like a pitiful worm right now. Also, Great Qin doesn't belong to you alone. If I want to stay, I'll stay. If I want to leave, I'll leave. You can't control it, and you don't have the qualifications to control it." Qin Feiyang scolded mercilessly. Emperor Hong could no longer hold back the anger in his heart as he roared. "Great Qin was single-handedly built by my father. What does it have to do with an abandoned son like you?" Abandoned son? Qin Feiyang's body and mind trembled, and his hands involuntarily clenched tightly. The hatred and anger that had accumulated for many years in his heart was completely ignited because of Emperor Hong's words. "Too much," Lu Jijin muttered. Being abandoned by the emperor was the pain of Qin Feiyang's life. It even left a scar in his heart that was difficult to heal. Emperor Hong's words undoubtedly tore open this scar mercilessly, making Qin Feiyang's heart drip with blood. Lu Zhejin turned his head to look at Qin Feiyang. Looking at Qin Feiyang's pained expression, a monstrous rage rose in his heart. There are some things that are inconvenient for you to do, so let me do it. Chapter 1420. Pa! The crisp sound of a slap resounded above the imperial palace, which was particularly ear-piercing. Similarly, Lu Zhejin's slap also shocked countless people. One must know. The one standing there was Emperor Hong. Not only was he the son of the previous emperor, but he was also the second-generation emperor. How could he dare to slap him in public? Emperor Hong himself was also stunned. The imperial preceptor was also shocked. Who was this person? He was actually so bold. The scene fell into a dead silence. Suddenly, Emperor Hong raised his head, stared at Lu Zhejin gloomily, and roared, "You dare to hit this old man? Hitting you is considered light. Look at this world, how can there be a great-grandfather like you?" Lu Zhejin snorted coldly, raised his arm and slapped again. Emperor Hong's hostility overflowed, and killing intent burst out of his eyes. But at this moment, Qin Feiyang clenched his hands and shouted, "Old man, if you dare to move, I will let them kill everyone related to the Qin clan, and let the Qin clan have no descendants." Emperor Hong roared, "Evil creature, don't forget, you are also a member of the Qin clan. Didn't you just say that I am an abandoned child? What does an abandoned child have to do with your Qin clan?" Qin Feiyang sneered. Emperor Hong was furious. But at this time, Lu Zhejin's slap landed solidly on his face, and a blood-red palm print quickly appeared. This was not a slap on the face, but on Emperor Hong's self-esteem. In front of everyone he was slapped twice in a row. How could he face the world in the future? He was about to go crazy in his heart. But he didn't dare to move. He didn't dare to fight back. Because what Qin Feiyang had just said was like a ghost, floating in his ears. Kill everyone related to the Qin clan. If because of his impulse, the Qin clan had no descendants, even if he died, it would be difficult to atone for his sins. Pa! Lu Zhejin's expression was cold. He raised his hand and slapped Emperor Hong's old face one after another. Not long after, Emperor Hong's entire face swelled up like a pig's head. However, he seemed to have become numb and did not make a sound. It's really sad that Qin Feiyang has a great-grandfather like you. In the end, Lu Zhejin shook his head and sneered. Then, he turned around and swaggered back to Qin Feiyang. "Have you had enough? Did you vent your anger? Now that you've vented your anger, scram." Emperor Hong roared at the few of them, hysterical. The mysterious madam looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, "Do you want the throne of the great Qin or not?" In other words, if Qin Feiyang wanted it, he would immediately help Qin Feiyang get it. "What's the point of obtaining the throne? Can you reunite me with my mother?" Qin Feiyang muttered to himself, his eyes full of disdain. From the very beginning, he had no interest in the throne. It was just that Emperor Hong and the others thought themselves infallible, and insisted on accusing him of usurping the throne. The mysterious madam said, "Since Qin Feiyang is not interested in the throne, then let's disperse. Don't make some people look too bad. After all, he is the famous son of the Qin emperor." Although she said that, the mysterious madam was even more ruthless than Lu Zhejin. As soon as her voice fell, she flashed and appeared in front of Emperor Hong. With a palm strike, she shattered Emperor Hong's qi and then kicked Emperor Hong's lower abdomen. "Ah!" Accompanied by a shrill scream, Emperor Hong smashed downwards like a meteorite. "Lord Emperor Hong!" The imperial advisor's face changed as he hurriedly chased after him. The guards in the palace, as well as the civil and military officials, all flew towards Emperor Hong, their faces full of worry. Boom! When Emperor Hong fell, there was a loud noise and a deep pit appeared on the ground. He was lying in the deep pit, his hair disheveled and his lower abdomen dripping with blood. He was in an extremely sorry state. "Your Excellency, are you all right?" The imperial advisor landed beside Emperor Hong and hurriedly helped Emperor Hong up. "Qin Feiyang, don't go too far. No matter what, he's still your elder. Even if you don't care about kinship, you still have to give face to the late emperor. After all, it was the late emperor who gave you the inheritance that made you who you are now. How can you collude with outsiders to harm the late emperor's own son? The civil and military officials gathered around Emperor Hong and the imperial advisor, glaring at Qin Feiyong in the sky, feeling indignant. Shut up. What do you all know? All these years for the great Qin Empire, Qin Feiyong has done who knows how many things and suffered how many grievances. And you all? Every day in the imperial city, living like a prince. I want to ask you, what qualifications do you have to criticize him? Old Qin said angrily. He's arrogant and despotic, lawless and out of control. What grievances can he suffer? The ones who are wronged are us. If it weren't for him messing around in the imperial city all day long, would we have to be on tenterhooks every day? All these years, every day felt like a year to us. Old Qin, you used to be highly respected in the great Qin Empire. But why can't you figure it out and collude with Qin Feiyong? Aren't you afraid of bearing an eternal infamy? Everyone roared angrily. As long as we can protect the country left behind by the late emperor, what's the harm in bearing an eternal infamy? Old Qin muttered, his eyes filled with determination. Protecting the great Qin Empire, protecting the people was his belief. Qin Feiyong patted Old Qin's shoulder and comforted him. Don't worry, no matter when, I will fight alongside you. Old Qin smiled in relief. Fortunately, there was Qin Feiyong now, or else the great Qin Empire would really be hopeless. An old official stood at the head of the crowd, looked at Qin Feiyong and the others and said, I won't let you hurt Lord Emperor Hong again, unless you step over my corpse. Then I'll fulfill your wish. The mysterious madam opened her mouth coldly, divine might pouring down like a waterfall. Emperor Hong pushed that old official away and roared, Don't hurt the innocent. If you have any resentment, come at me. The mysterious madam said disdainfully, How long can you last in your current state? With his qi crippled, Emperor Hong was already reduced to a cripple. If the mysterious madam really wanted to kill him now, she could do it with a wave of her hand. Lord Emperor Hong, the little prince has just succeeded the throne. Nothing can happen to you or our great Qin will really be finished. Qin Feiyong, you're so ruthless. Aren't you afraid of suffering the wrath of the heavens? I beg you, show mercy and let Lord Emperor Hong go. Our great Qin has already lost a wise emperor. We can't lose Lord Emperor Hong too. A group of officials cried out in grief. Some people even knelt on the ground begging endlessly. Qin Feiyong swept his eyes over the group of people and asked, Who is the wise emperor that you all are talking about? A minister said, Of course it's you and His Majesty the White Sky's father. Haha, Qin Feiyong immediately laughed loudly and said mockingly, He can also be called wise? Want me to let Emperor Hong go, sure, but I want him to kneel down. Dream on. Emperor Hong roared angrily. Qin Feiyong, you're really going too far. What ability do you have to make Lord Emperor Hong kneel down to you? Moreover, he's your great-grandfather, can you bear it? The people roared again and again. Qin Feiyong said, Of course I can't bear it, but I'm not making him kneel down to me either. I'm making him kneel down to his ancestor. I want to repent in front of his ancestor's statue. Emperor Hong said angrily, What did this old man do wrong, that I need to repent? Qin Feiyong said, You still haven't realized your mistake. You're really hopeless. I don't want to hear nonsense, just tell me, are you kneeling or not kneeling? Not kneeling. Emperor Hong said. Since that's the case, then don't blame me for being ruthless. Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed with killing intent. Thunder Leopard and the other two beasts appeared out of thin air, and said, Go, capture all the princesses as well as the little prince. I will let the Qin clan have no descendants right now. No problem. Thunder Leopard laughed. Bastard, you really deserve to be cut into pieces. Emperor Hong was filled with grief and indignation. Qin Feiyong glanced at Emperor Hong, looked at Thunder Leopard and the other two beasts and shouted, What are you standing there for? Hurry up and go. All right. The three beasts shouted and rushed down. Emperor Hong's gaze trembled as he hurriedly said, Don't quickly call them back. I'll kneel right away. Finished. He gritted his teeth and knelt on the ground with a thud. Come back. Qin Feiyong said. How boring. When Thunder Leopard and the other two beasts heard this, They immediately pursed their lips and returned to Qin Feiyang's side in extreme displeasure. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and a wave of battle qi surged out, pouring into the ground below. Boom! The ground suddenly trembled and soil flew up. Not long after, a statue of a god holding a broken sword, which was more than 100 feet tall, condensed and stood in front of Emperor Hong. Looking at the statue, Emperor Hong felt sorrow from the bottom of his heart, and roared, "Father, why did you give the inheritance to that unfilial bastard? The unfilial one is you." Qin Feiyang coldly snorted. His gaze turned to the imperial preceptor, and said, "You also kneel down for me." "On what basis?" The imperial preceptor was stunned and immediately flew into a rage. Qin Feiyang sneered, "As a subject of great Qin, do you still need a reason to kneel to the late emperor? Or is it that the one who really wants to usurp the throne is you?" The imperial preceptor's body trembled, holding back the anger in his heart, and knelt beside Emperor Hong. Qin Feiyang had already made it so obvious if he still didn't kneel, it would be equivalent to admitting it in disguise. One had to know. Right now, all the officials in the imperial court, the people of the imperial city, were all watching. An old minister said, "Since we have to kneel, then we will also kneel and accompany Emperor Hong and Lord Imperial Preceptor. Yes. At this time we must unite and face the outside world together." The other ministers nodded one after another, glaring at Qin Feiyang. "Up to you," Qin Feiyang said indifferently. Lu Xingchen shook his head and sighed. "I didn't expect that the wise Qin Badian would actually give birth to such a muddle-headed son like you. How laughable. You are not allowed to blaspheme, father." Emperor Hong raised his head and looked at Lu Xingchen gloomily. "I don't care. In the future, don't let me hear you bully Brother Qin in the imperial capital again. Or else it won't end so easily like today. Changyan Changfeng, let's go." Lu Xingchen sneered, waved his hand, and left with Mu Changyun and Mu Changfeng. Wang Su glanced at Qin Feiyang and the others, and also turned and left without saying a word. But the mysterious lady didn't leave. Lu Jijin didn't leave either. Emperor Hong looked at Qin Feiyang, Elder Qin, the mysterious lady, and Lu Jijin and said, "Why aren't you scramming? I'll say it one last time, don't make a fuss in front of me. If you annoy me, even if the heavenly king comes down, he won't be able to save you." The mysterious lady looked down coldly at Emperor Hong and said, "You." Emperor Hong blew his beard and glared. The mysterious lady smiled contemptuously, turned to look at Qin Feiyang and said, "It's time to settle our accounts. There are too many people here. Let's find a place where there's no one." Qin Feiyang's eyelids twitched. Chapter 1421. Lu Jijin saw Qin Feiyang's nervousness and sent a sound transmission. "Little cousin, don't be afraid. Although the power behind her is very strong, she is now alone. With me and old man Qin here, she wouldn't dare to do anything to you." "That's right. If she dares to touch you, this old man will make sure she doesn't return," old man Qin thought. Hearing the words of the two, Qin Feiyang heaved a sigh of relief. He glanced at Emperor Hong and the others, then looked at the mysterious lady and said, "Let's go to the restaurant." It was definitely impossible for him to bring this dangerous woman to the castle or the ancient tower. "Wait, how long do we have to kneel?" Emperor Hong said angrily. "Kneel until I'm satisfied. If I find out that you're cheating, then don't blame me for being impolite." Qin Feiyang snorted from his nose, then turned around and left with the mysterious lady and Lu Jijin. Evil creature. Emperor Hong was so angry that his beard was blowing and his eyes were glaring, his body trembling crazily. As the second-generation emperor of the Great Qin dynasty and also Qin Feiyang's great-grandfather, he was actually forced to kneel in public. How could he have any face left? Seeing this, the imperial advisor hurriedly sent a sound transmission. "My lord, a wise man does not fight when the odds are against him. Now please endure it and stop shouting at them. When did you become so spineless?" Emperor Hong glared at the imperial advisor angrily, then looked at Qin Feiyang's back and muttered, "I hope you can continue to be so arrogant." To him, what he had experienced today was the greatest humiliation in his life. Therefore, other than hatred, there was nothing else for Qin Feiyang. How wonderful! In the distant void, Wang Zicheng clapped his hands and laughed. To be able to turn danger into safety like this, young lord's methods are indeed not something we can compare to. The big barbarian bull sighed. Back then, when they followed Qin Feiyang, they were all forced and unwilling. But now that they looked back, being able to follow Qin Feiyang was also a good thing. As long as this person did not die, he would definitely have astonishing achievements in the future. They could also benefit from it. First District. Fragrant Moon Inn. Qin Feiyang and the other three arrived at the gate one after another. The waiter of the restaurant immediately welcomed them with a flattering smile. Young Master Qin, Old Man Qin, and these two lords, please come in. In the meantime, the surrounding people also retreated to the side, as if they had seen a devil, and kept quiet out of fear. The street in front of the Fragrant Moon brothel instantly fell into a dead silence. The mysterious madam glanced at the Fragrant Moon Inn and nodded. This place looks pretty good. Qin Feiyang said with a smile, of course we have to go to the best place to entertain our distinguished guests. And Fragrant Moon House is the most high-end restaurant in the imperial capital. Stop flattering me. The mysterious lady glared at him. Qin Feiyang smiled awkwardly and looked at the waiter. Take us to a secluded room. All right. The shop assistant nodded and hurriedly led the way. Qin Feiyang had long been a taboo in the imperial capital. Furthermore, in the hearts of the people, his position was comparable to a super overlord like the Hong Emperor and the imperial advisor. Therefore, regardless of whether it was the restaurant's waiter or the restaurant's diners, none of them dared to be negligent. Entering the restaurant, the people inside all stood up and bowed. Although they all hated Qin Feiyang in their hearts, none of them dared to show it. 8th floor. In a private room. After the waiter brought Qin Feiyang and the other three in, he immediately left tactfully and closed the door. Inside the private room there was a separate dining room, tea room, reception room, and bedroom. The decorations were extremely luxurious. Everyone sit. Qin Feiyang directly entered the tea room and sat on the main seat without any trace of politeness. In order to protect Qin Feiyang, Old Man Qin and Lu Zhejin sat beside Qin Feiyang, one on the left and one on the right. The mysterious madam looked at the three of them and snorted coldly. She walked to the opposite side of Qin Feiyang and sat down. She said, I didn't expect your situation in the imperial capital to be so unbearable. How should I describe you? Fiend? Bane? This also proves that I have the ability. Qin Feiyang was instead proud. Ugh! The mysterious madam was astonished. Qin Feiyang laughed and said, if I didn't have the ability, how could I have made the whole world my enemy? The mysterious madam rolled her eyes and sneered. I haven't seen you for a while and you've become more thick-skinned. You flatter me. Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and smiled. He said, let's not beat around the bush and get straight to the point. I don't understand why you want to help me. Don't you care about divine crystals anymore? Don't mention divine crystals to me. When I think of being cheated by you, I'm so angry that I can't wait to kill you. The mysterious madam immediately turned hostile. Her eyes flashed coldly. Old Man Qin and Lu Zhejin immediately became vigilant. The mysterious madam glanced at the two of them and took a deep breath to calm her anger. She said lightly, don't be nervous. I won't touch him. Old Man Qin and Lu Zhejin looked at each other, but they didn't let down their guard. Qin Feiyang, however, had a bellyful of suspicions. He said, Senior, can we not beat around the bush? Okay. I'll tell you directly. I helped you because of friendship. I didn't care about what happened last time because of friendship. The mysterious madam said. Friendship? Friendship? Who? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. The mysterious madam said, you'll know in the future that I came to you this time because of the 3 elixir fires. Qin Feiyang hurriedly said, Senior, you've already given me the elixir fires. Now you can't bully me and take them back. The flame of heavenly thunder, flame of frost, and flame of heavenly mystery were all given to him by the mysterious madam. The mysterious madam said angrily, if I were to bully you, would I be sitting here discussing with you? It's good that you don't want to take them. Qin Feiyang smiled embarrassedly. The mysterious madam rolled her eyes at Qin Feiyang and said, I only want 4 places. No problem. Qin Feiyang didn't even think about it and nodded directly. In any case, the elixir fires were given to him by this woman. There was nothing wrong with giving her 4 places. The mysterious madam said, "Also, after we enter the divine ruin, I need you to do something for me." As expected, it's not that simple. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly and asked, "What is it?" The mysterious madam said, "Take good care of my daughter. If anything happens to her in the divine ruin, I won't let you go even if you run to the ends of the earth." Qin Feiyang was stunned and frowned. "Why do I have to take care of her? Are you not going in?" "Of course I'm going in, but I can't take care of her," the mysterious madam said. "Why?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. "Don't you know? The divine ruin has 2 levels. If combat thearchs enter, they will enter the first level. If false gods enter, they will enter the second level directly. Simply put, combat thearchs and false gods won't be in the same space." The mysterious madam said. "There's such a thing?" Qin Feiyang was shocked. Why didn't Lu Xingchen tell him such an important thing? Did he deliberately hide it from him, or did he ignore this point? "I won't lie to you. Because 10,000 years ago, I entered the divine ruin. At that time your ancestor, the Lu family's ancestor, and Mu Tianyang went in with me. But at that time I was still very weak compared to them," the mysterious madam said. "There's such a thing?" Qin Feiyang and the others looked at each other. After Lu Jijin came back to his senses, he looked at the mysterious madam and asked, "You mean after we enter the divine ruin, we will be separated from Qin Feiyang?" "Yes." The mysterious madam nodded. Lu Jijin frowned. "What if we're in the castle? There's a mysterious power in the passage that connects to the divine ruin. This power is pervasive. Even if we hide in a spatial divine item, it's useless." I remember that back then Qin the Arch and Mu Tianyang did this. They both had spatial divine items, but in the end, none of them succeeded in sneaking into the first level. The mysterious madam said, "That's not fun." Lu Jijin muttered, "Let me tell you seriously, the divine ruin is not a place to play. It's full of danger.